Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A good Thursday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, as well as those watching on YouTube. Matt Iwanyk, Jay Milne, Zach to come with you here for the first hour. Then we're going to swap out Zach to come for the head coach of your University of Alberta Golden Bears football team, Chris Morris, who's going to be coming in for an hour. As you've met, their camps are like, they start tomorrow? Camp?
Their camp starts tomorrow. Yes, they're going to have walkthroughs all weekend. May I see?
You want Gooba?
Mr. Gooba. So we walk into the studio here, and our dearest Zach says, "Oh, he's here." Because Gooba was sitting in the chair.
I didn't say it like that.
I
didn't say it like
Jay
that.
gave us.
And I said, yeah. I'm like, what do you mean he?
You're violating.
Yeah. Shove my hand right up his bum. I'm a puppeteer. And I said, what do you mean he's? Like, don't you know who that is? And Zach, tell everybody what you said.
I'm sorry, but I did not know Gooba.
Did not know that this was Gooba. I think you should have to hand over the keys to EST for 7 days.
For 7 days?
Suspension.
No, we need him.
Need him on the weekend. No VIP golf show. All right, guys.
This is Gooba, the great university bear of Alberta. That name came from Chuck Moser. Rest in peace, Chuck. Chuck passed away not too long ago, but he was the person that came up with that name and the logo and everything. So, I mean, as far as iconic goes, Gooba is up there.
Well, I've seen Gooba. I didn't know his name. I think I actually was. I'm confessing this now. I might have been formally introduced to him before. He came and sat in the fourth chair here today, but now he's propped up between a wall.
But I got to get him on screen.
Yeah,
when he's sitting in the chair, he wasn't on screen. So I want to get Gooba on screen.
But I mean, you have a Saskatchewan Husky. Well, that's a husky. That could be any animal. That's a UBC Thunderbird. What even is a Thunderbird? Who knows? Who cares?
It's crappy.
It's terrible. And a Dino, a Calgary Dino. That's probably the lamest name.
Yeah. Do they have anything good in Calgary?
Dinos.
Their hockey team's from Atlanta. They didn't even name their hockey team.
Everything about the Dinos stinks.
Yeah. It's all
Gooba
bad.
is a bear. And it's not only a bear, it's a great university bear of Alberta.
Berta, baby.
Gooba.
That's Gooba.
Berta.
Now, how long has Gooba fully been around? Was he there before the name was given?
He's been around since 1385. I don't know. I made that up.
Yeah. Long time.
I also do, it's interesting. That's an interesting point is because the Bears have the pandas as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
See, I know the pandas.
There's no name for the mascot.
There's no name for the panda. But,
Oh, is it Patches?
Patches. It is Patches.
Patches the panda?
That's right. It is Patches. You're right.
It's a nice name.
When does that all become bears? When do the pandas get dissolved?
Oh.
Because it's trending that way.
Well,
What
yeah,
do you mean
I
it's trending that way?
Well, politically correct. Women are equal to men. Why? You know what I mean?
Well, then the argument would be when's it going to trend to the pandas? You can make that argument too then.
The bears to the pandas.
Yeah.
I think the bears were here first.
Okay. I don't think you have to. I don't think that's ever come up once.
Yeah, I know. I'm fearful of it is what I'm saying.
I don't think it's. I think that's the first time I ever heard someone mention it. I think the issue is that sometimes we often don't say the word pandas. That it's bears and pandas athletics. It's not.
Oh, it's bears and pandas.
Absolutely.
But a panda is a bear. It's a panda bear.
It is a bear.
So if you're saying the bears, you're talking about both.
I actually like that there's two different ones.
I do too.
I think
Makes
that's
it
actually
interesting.
neat.
Don't misconstrue this.
No,
I
know.
love it. I'm just wondering when the worldly pressures will have to cave in on the University of Alberta.
It comes that way.
Okay, well then, right on, Maddie.
Because
That's
I
great.
honestly would have. That's the first time it would have ever crossed my mind. Of
Yeah.
they have
God,
to
now I put
bring
it out
in
into
one.
the existence, into the ether.
Now it's out there.
Yeah. No, I don't think there'd be any issues with that.
Okay, great. Me neither.
As long as there's everything else is equal. Yep, you have a mascot for it. You got patches. As long as the money's the same, scholarships are the same, and that stuff is there because sports you have to. It's the same amount of scholarships, some like just total or something. I can't remember. So I don't think that is going to be an issue.
Get this. The Golden Bears football team takes to the field tomorrow. How many players do you believe or do you think are on their roster?
Oh, for them, university, it'd be like college. I'm going to say about 90
On a full roster?
Full.
for the start of camp.
This is the roster they're going to play through the whole season with.
I'm sticking with 90.
130.
Wow. 110.
Okay.
That's
We're
incredible.
in the middle, yeah. That is a lot.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
It
'cause
is a
it's
big school.
53-man roster for the Elks.
That's double. Like almost
More
on the
than double.
nose. More than double,
More
right?
than double. But that is collegiate sports. That is university sports. You go watch, like if you're watching NCAA football games and you pay attention to their sideline, they're loaded with extra
Yeah.
players and stuff. And
Well, yeah, and we obviously having Chris Morris on here in hour 2 is going to be awesome to set up the season.
big season for them. I don't recall this season there's been this much hype going into a Bears season because of how good things were the season prior. They were a great football team last year. They just couldn't beat one football team. In those Thunderbirds again. What is a Thunderbird?
What is a Thunderbird? Dorks.
But so now it's like, can they build off of that? Is that who this not franchise, but this group and this school is now? And can they go out and take care of business against UBC? It's a season of revenge.
yeah,
Almost. And that's the question I have for Chris Morris is that we've seen this enough in sports where teams have that big loss or whatever it is, and either sometimes they just choose to forget about it. It's a brand new season. Other years they want to not dwell on it, but it fuels them.
Yeah.
That's our motivation.
Yeah.
What is this group like? Is this group looking at that going, no, we can't wait to play UBC. We can't wait to beat UBC. Or is this one brand new season? We're just here to go win our week in, week out, win our games on Friday or Saturday.
I have a feeling that it's going to be this is a new season mentality.
I hope not.
But let it be known that every player in that locker room is going to be circling those 2 games.
So then it's a revenge season.
But you can't say it.
It's a revenge season.
He can't. Christopher Morris cannot say that, I don't think.
I think
It'd be
you
interesting.
could.
You can maybe
Because
hint
the
at
ball. I remember the Ravens.
You want to
and
bet
this-
20 on it?
No, I don't. You got your blood money today.
I got my money reluctantly.
Hey, you bet on the winner, right? You bet on...
No, he bet
best
against the
up?
Canadian.
No, I didn't. I bet.
He bet that a
on my
Canadian would
sports
not
knowledge.
meet or get to the 100-meter final. That's what he bet on.
Yeah, and I won.
Because it was a smart bet. You make the smart bets. You don't play
Thank
with your
you,
heart. You play with
Zach.
your brain. And
still-
I
that's-
still
I'm not
still
going
lose
to
on
cool
my money,
bet them.
though.
It's
Stay cool, bet responsibly.
yeah, and even then, like you talk to when the boys have been talking Olympics and stuff, you don't bet against Canada. You don't you just choose not to bet then at that point. This guy chose to bet against Canada.
Or you sprinkle on both sides.
There was no sprinkle. It was a manly bet, 1v1. You can't do a
1v1.
sprinkle
Oh,
here.
Yeah, no sprinkling.
No, he
Keep your sprinkling
It
to
was a
yourself.
J bet.
He could have just done it as a no money at all, and just went.
But that's
we'll
not
see.
fun. That's not.
But that's you
who's
wanted
going to give a rip?
You wanted to bet against Canada, and you won. And I hope you
won.
feel good about yourself.
I do. I feel so much better now thinking about the 6 o'clocker loggers I'm going to buy.
Andre DeGrasse
Going out to Sickler's cabin tomorrow
hammy
for a few
injury.
days with the fam. We're gonna be sipping those beers on the beach.
Couldn't be at any
It's gonna be
better.
great. And all I'm gonna think about is your smug face.
That's fine.
bought
And when
it
you're
for
thinking
me?
about that, just at least one of us defended our Canadian athlete, and one of us went.
How
"I'm
patriotic
against it."
of you. I pay taxes too. I'm a patriot.
Yeah, I pay now more taxes. I paid the athletic tax, the 100-meter final tax.
The ultimate tax.
I paid it, and again, you put that in the universe, though.
Great. Now the pandas are gonna go away too.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm sorry, April.
yeah. Good job.
And you're asking what a Thunderbird was.
Yeah.
I googled
I
it.
actually just don't. It's UBC. Screw them.
Well, In Native American mythology, a powerful spirit in the form of a bird. That's what a thunderbird is. By its work, the earth was watered and vegetation grew. Lightning was believed to flash from its beak, and the beating of its wings was thought to represent the rolling of thunder. And you're telling me that's not cool? I know. You're just.
Oh, now you're
support
cheering
of
against
Gooba.
the Bears.
No cheering.
Are you a UBC
Why
fan
can't I
over
like
there?
all animals?
Because this is about UBC and the Alberta Golden Bears, and we got the head coach of the University of Alberta Golden Bears football team coming in, and we don't like UBC around here. Okay. At least Jay and I don't. And Gooba.
You got that right.
Well, if they're the
Bears
Thunderbirds,
Pandas here, baby.
the Bears are going to strike like lightning. Well, I guess it's followed by thunder, but
I have never gone to the University of Alberta, and I've always been saddened by that.
You like
Growing
attending
up,
the
I always
school?
wanted to go. No, I wish growing up, I always wanted to go to U of A. Like
You
that was a
wanted
little
to
bit
be
of
a
a dream.
bear.
I wanted to be a bear.
I think
100%.
we're gonna knight you today as an
So,
honorary
like, it's-
bear.
Well, I
Wow.
feel like I almost just need to go take a night course one semester, just for once in my life. Although I may have a parking ticket that I have to pay. There might be one, so then I won't be able to get my marks or enroll or something. I'll have to pay
Right,
the one
right,
parking
right.
ticket.
That
But
always
that's-
terrified me, too.
Yeah. After that, so that's where I'm good. I could get the parking ticket or whatever.
Take a night course.
But that's maybe just to officially be like, I was a U of A Golden Bear. I feel deeper ties to the Golden Bears than I do the Nate Ooks. And I went to Nate for 2 years.
Yeah, I could see that. I see that. I hear it from you. I feel for you in that respect. I think you can be knighted as an honorary member of the University of Alberta today, if Chris Morris feels so inclined to.
That would be a lot. That would mean a lot.
Would it?
If he agreed, like, because if he says it.
If he says it, it's
That-
good.
well, we have a
I'm good.
sword
I'm good.
for the night.
I think we need to have Chris Morris knight you.
Wow.
I don't think we need to go that far.
I think we do. I think this is a thing.
But it would be, yeah.
I'm a little bit shocked to hear that you're more, I guess, in tune with the Bears than you were the Ooks, even though you were at Nate.
Well, one of the reasons was actually, and this is, this could get me in trouble. When I was younger, my cousin's husband was the assistant coach with the State Trojans. So we went to go cheer him on. Ken Babby was the head coach of the team at the time, and we cheered on this because I had family connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've been
okay.
at Nate Ook's hockey rink cheering on State to a title, an ACAC title.
Wow.
Oh, that's a
and
that's
you
a
talk about
confession.
patriotism. I don't
Family
think
ties.
I don't think
Family
he's getting
ties.
knighted anytime soon.
Family ties.
Not with
That's
that
all
attitude.
family.
This is
So-
not a beaver, folks. This is not a beaver. This is the gooba.
Who asked?
It could
Oh,
kinda-
yeah, no. Gooba.
Like from an angle, it could.
I can
just
see
with that size.
That
right?
was one of the greatest giveaways at a golf tournament I've ever seen. Is
Yeah,
a
the gooba.
gooba
This
head
is
cover.
awesome.
Oh, it's so nice.
A gooba head cover. And actually,
We
we
have two of them.
were at the
One was given to me.
the Bears football alumni tournament yesterday, and of course I'm rocking my gooba head cover, and all these younger guys, the younger generation of alumni are like, what? Where do I buy that? How do I get that? I need that. I said, oh, sorry, you can't. Chip.
I got one.
Maddie
And
does.
it's on my driver head cover.
It's because you're an
Wow.
honorary bear.
It'll be used before the EST Classic one.
Cheers for the
legitimately.
St. Trojan.
Actually, I will say if there's one critique I have of Bears Pandas Athletics, they don't sell enough merch. Like this should be a merch item.
100%.
I want hockey jerseys. I want to buy all their hockey jerseys.
See, I would buy a hockey jersey.
They have
I'd love
every
that.
single hockey jersey they have is beautiful and gorgeous.
Yes.
And I want all of them. And I've never been like, you go to a game and it's like, I'll give you money right now. Why is there not a jersey up for sale right now?
Now there's got to be like special events, right, where they auction off jerseys, but as a regular item in the store, right?
Like you
I
can.
haven't looked. I've gone to their the bookstore online and stuff. And there's a lot more apparel than there
Hockey
used to
jerseys
be.
should be something because you can wear those. You can actually wear
Nate
them
has a
out.
hockey jersey they sell.
Yeah, you had one. Oh, well, you didn't
that
have
was
one
a
of that
different
sell-
one.
Yeah,
That was two different ones.
that was a
but-
sharp looking one. But
that
like,
was cool.
so the Golden Bears have the regular one with Gooba on it, which is awesome. They have the one that just is Alberta. spelt
I like that one.
across,
So good.
which is very university. They've got the old school one with the old Gooba logo, and then they got just the big A.
Yeah, block A.
all of them are great.
They're all fantastic, and it's also like the colors.
They're sharp.
Like I do stand. Green and golds are better colors than blue and orange.
Well, the Bears,
I think they work better.
I believe the Bears were around prior to the Eskimos, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's vice versa. I think
Prior
the Bears would
1949?
have been around before that. I forget. There was some trade-off of gear, of uniforms, practice pants, and whatnot that led to both teams having the same colors.
So
goes
Brett
that
said I went
deep.
to the main bookstore last year and they had hockey jerseys.
What?
Well, somebody's gonna have to make a trip to the bookstore this year then.
I get lost in that place. So, like, my buddy, he goes to the U of A and he's giving me tours and stuff. And I love the environment there. And I'm like, wow, I just need to go to school here. Like, just to kind of how you are, like, to be a Bear in that sense, but just the environment in it too. It's like a little town inside of Edmonton because all the architecture and everything, the history, you read all the statues and everything. You just want.
Yeah.
It's such
Universities
a great
are a step up from technical schools like Nate. There's a little bit of a step up from
Or you're
there.
in the V building.
Mr. Socks is in and
Yeah, I was supposed to
says
say, get that.
Eskimos borrowed Golden Bears gear. That's what I thought, and that's eventually what led to them having the same colors. Was the Bears were green and gold first.
And they're just solid colors. Like they really are.
You know, speaking of rivalry, like between Edmonton and Calgary,
Boo.
pretty good colors though. Like green and gold versus red and white, or red and you know what I mean? Like
Dinos are the red and yellow. Which
they
is
try
ugly.
mix in that
I
gold,
don't
but
like
it's a shame.
Dinos. I don't think are a good color.
Calgary's
Their hockey
colors are
jerseys
red and white.
hideous.
Yeah, they do, and it doesn't work in that.
No,
scheme.
and that's not me just trying to rip on Calgary. Just they're not good. Stamps, love it. Red, white, and then the black that they mix in and stuff with it at times. Like that. I'll say the Flames. It's not their name. It's from Atlanta. Dinos is stupid. Stampeders isn't good.
Stampeders
it works for
fits the bill.
them
Yes.
with the Stampede. Like everything about Stampeders
And that helmet-
outside of there in Calgary, it works.
The red helmet with the white Mustang, with the white face mask, I don't think that can be beat.
I love
Like
the
Doug
color.
Flutie era, or even
yeah.
you know what I mean, Alan Pitts.
They've always had like they had those pistols ones that Bo would wear.
Get those out of there.
I didn't mind those.
They're terrible. Or the metallic.
I like when they had the matte finish on it a little bit.
Matt's okay. Matt's okay. You're okay too.
Get some chrome in there.
You know what's
Well,
funny?
they do have one where the Stampeder logo is chromed.
See, that's
Little bit.
that's a little nice accent. I don't like it when the full helmet's chrome, like the LA Kings and Vegas Golden Knights do. I find it too distracting watching. Like it's cool, but in a game, it's just But the
Yeah.
little accent of the logo,
Yeah,
perfect
I'd
touch.
rather they go the opposite as well as the matte and dull it. You know, but you were saying how the university is like a community in a you know
Oh, yeah.
right on some of the most valuable land in Edmonton. My wife April when she played for the Pandas basketball, she had to get reconstructive ankle surgery. Kept her out for quite a while, for better part of a season, let's say. But in doing so there's the student union building, also known as Sub. That's where most of the athletes would hang out because it's closest to the Van Vliet Center, the Butterdome, which is where our locker rooms used to be.
Is that the one
main
across
gym.
the street from?
Right across from
Yeah.
the Claire Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the main gym, well, that would make sense because main gym was also
Yeah,
there.
it's closest spot.
miss
So
main gym.
that's where, we would always hang out and,
and the rats at the top.
the rats at the top of that. That's right. And we'd super glue loonies to the ground and watch people try to pick them up. And it was fun. It was a great pastime. But when my wife had reconstructive ankle surgery, they have a student support center that's in that in the Sub where they would borrow her or allow her to rent out, at no charge, free for students, a scooter to get around campus. Because if you had to walk from Sub, say, to Lister Hall, that's a 10-minute walk if you're pushing it.
And what's Lester Hall in? Is it?
Lister Hall was just a study hall. Like
Okay.
it'd
I've
be
heard
like,
of it
it would
before,
be
but-
like bowl seating style classrooms.
Okay.
Big
Okay.
classroom,
Yeah.
big lecture hall. So April got the scooter. So soon enough, all the fellas realized that April's going to Lister. So we'd pack all of her backpacks and everything onto her scooter, and a couple guys would hop on the back, and she'd tote everybody and their bags to across campus. It was great. It was awesome.
Powerful scooter.
This thing had jam. Yeah. I think I had a high and a low switch.
She was ahead of the curve. She was there before Limes.
Right?
Could have charged $5.
Free of charge, too. That was very great. That was a long year.
But to Edmonton, I don't think there's a team in Edmonton that has a bad look or color. I say green and gold is the best. That's not to say blue and orange doesn't work. Oilers look good. They have one of the best logos in North American sports. Actually, there's a USA Today poll that said that, which involved the U.S. Oil Kings is fantastic. Riverhawks, Stingers are great. Like Edmonton's actually like whoever designs Edmonton stuff.
I disagree with you.
Which one do you not like?
I disagree. There's one outlier. Grant McEwen. The Griffins.
I like the color.
The Griffins.
I like the color scheme.
the purple or whatever
What's
the color
burgundy?
is. Burgundy.
It's a red.
Yeah.
I like the burgundy. I actually
Meh.
do like the color. Maybe I'd have to look closer to the logo. Well, see, and this is where I was disrespecting McEwen, Nate, Concordia. They didn't even cross my mind. Because Concordia logo is not the best.
I just didn't
Thunder?
like the Griffin. Like the Griffin.
The logo of the Thunder. Not
Yeah,
it's
sometimes
a
they
little,
change it. Yeah,
they
it's
think
a-
they can modernize it. You
Right.
don't like the look of the Griffin? Like the
No.
actual logo?
No, I'm not. Like these to see. So my first 2 years of post-secondary education were at Grant McEwen because they offer a transfer program to U of A. So you come to Grant McEwen, smaller class sizes, less tuition, or at least it was. You do your first 2 years of studies because it's mostly open stuff anyways before you head into your business degree at U of A.
Right.
See, I like that jersey.
Terrible.
I don't mind
I do
it.
like the color. I don't
That's
know. I
the
think they
thing.
can
I
adjust it a
don't
bit.
like the color. So maybe
Yeah,
I'm
it is
blinded
more
by
purple.
that.
It's more
I
That's
just
purple
what
than
they're
burgundy, I
rocking
would
this
say.
year. I don't
I
think.
don't like it. I think they could easily transition to black with burgundy
The
highlights.
mascot works too, I think. I would go more red. I would make that more red, less purplish.
See, to me, that looks like the Grant McEwen Eagles. What's a griffin?
A big eagle, basically.
Oh, it's got horns on the top.
I think a griffin is like a
It's a
mythological
yes.
creature.
Well, it's because it's got horns on the top and it's got a tail.
That would be the lowest, I guess, on the list for me out of my favorite Edmonton jerseys or logos or anything like that. Also, I guess when the Oil Kings were green and black, I did not like that really. I didn't. I like the logo.
I like that one.
I
But
just-
that's an alternate.
right. Yeah,
That's not their main.
That surprised me. Their jerseys now are fantastic. Like they're blue and gold today. I think that almost might be a better color than the green and gold. The blue and gold. That might be a hot take. That blue and gold that the Oil Kings have, I think it almost fits better than a green and gold.
No, there's a lot of people that say that. I think Grumpy Cat, when we had him on, one of the listeners, he was the winner of a Hangout draw from the Nasty Club. He was saying he wished they wore it more. Weird it more.
Weird.
Kind of English is that?
Come on.
Just what a
Broken.
Maybe you
I-
do need to go to
who
the U of A.
speaks
You know
like
what's
that?
funny though is you mentioned like with maybe you have a parking ticket at U of A.
I have at least one, I think.
I parked in front of the Butterdome. There was a loading zone there. A loading zone,
Yeah.
say 3 cars deep. I parked in that loading zone for 4.5 years. All day. Every day. I accumulated about $450 in tickets.
That's
that
actually pretty
I
low.
gladly paid.
That's pretty low.
So that's like half of a year of parking at that time. But I just parked there. It was hilarious. But I couldn't tell anybody about it. I told one guy, Jared Winkle, played for the Bears.
Why couldn't you tell anyone?
Because I didn't want them to take my spot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because next thing you know, there's 3-4 people in that
Yeah, but you're
loading
getting
zone.
tickets.
Very rarely.
Okay.
And I feel like, I wonder about
I
the
know
guy-
Nate's at for RTA building. There was ways around
Couple
it.
spots?
Well, it wasn't that like they were just. What do you have to do sometimes? And now I think they changed.
Can we drop it? Can we spill the beans?
Well, I don't care. I don't go to Nate.
yeah.
You don't go to Nate.
Well,
Screw him. And one of the things is like, but I also went back in like 2010. It's a little different. Like all you'd have to do is like write a note saying the machine was broken on your dashboard.
Oh, that's smart.
And they wouldn't like give you a ticket. They just think that the machine was broken
Classic.
or something.
Yeah, that's when they
Classic.
got so many machines now. So you just park. I think you try and get to the parkade, which is very close to where the radio side of the
Is it V-Wing?
the
Is it-
Yeah,
it's
near
the
the
V-Wing.
V building.
Yeah.
So the big parkade down there, 10 stories high or whatever. You try and go between levels 6 and 10, and you just find a spot, and you just hope and pray that you don't get a ticket. And I knew one guy who was there first semester, second semester, and then most of third, ended up getting a ticket and it was like $150, but that $150 ticket paid for all of his parking. It's $175 or $200 for a semester parking. So just paying $150 for 3, that's pretty easy.
Is the premise there that they're too lazy to climb to those floors?
I think it might be because they have the little car that comes around and it's security, but I don't think they go all the way up there. Like if you go
There's
to an
probably
empty
a point
floor,
where you get to an empty floor, you think, we're good.
Right. I see. I see.
you try and
That's
outsmart
smart.
them a little bit.
This is the EST Hangout. Matt Iwanyk, Jay Milne, Zach to come with you here. Coming up in the second hour of the show, Chris Morris, head coach of the University of Alberta Golden Bears football team, will be in studio as their camp gets going tomorrow. First game of the season, I think, is out in UBC.
How many games do
It
they
is.
play in a full season?
8.
8.
Castor 1990, that's our good friend Ken, who loves seeing
Alberta.
Ken out at the
Century Casino Sports
Century
Bar and Lounge,
Casino
every day is
Sports
game
Bar,
day.
yeah.
We will be there on Sunday for the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. 4 o'clock, myself, Jay Milne, Surf and Turf on Daily Special, Cheese and Jalapeno Smokies, the Game Day Special, including the 6 o'clock or longer Game Day drafts, an hour before and an hour after the game. That is available.
That's why
That
you
is
get
just
paid the
printed
big
in your
bucks,
mind.
Natty.
Yeah. And don't forget, if you guys are going to the game, me, Zacticum, and YouTube Trev will be down there. EST tailgate, giving away chips, glasses, and all that fun stuff. So come say hi if you're going to the game.
Always fun. Ran into the Cordy family at the Bears alumni tournament yesterday, and they mentioned how great it is to have EST as a presence in the tailgate. So coming from them to say that about you, that's great. That's really good. You should be proud of yourself, Zach.
Pro street teamer.
Before you get to Castor's comment, August 30th, Bears are in Vancouver to take on UBC for the season opener. They play an exhibition against University of Saskatchewan August 22nd, non-conference game. First home game, September 6th. It's Friday, Footfield, U of A versus U of C.
Friday night under lights, man. Tell me there's not okay.
That
you
needs
and
to
I
be
are
locked
going.
in
You and
every
I are
year.
going.
Well, you're going to have to rush pretty quick after the show. You're here till 6.
What time's 7?
7, yeah. Just letting you know.
We'll be there.
Well, I'll already be there. But I feel like this should almost be every year. Like, I don't think you can't do it at the start of the weekend, but at least one of the weekends. The fact that Edmonton U of C Footfield on the Friday, Elks Stamps,
yeah.
Commonwealth on the Saturday. Love it. Back-to-back
great.
University
Hey,
Battle of
that's-
Albertas. Let's get that going.
We used to call that Hate Week. Dinos. Hate Week.
We're going
Hate
to
the
show
Dinos.
them, and I'm using we in this case.
Castor 1990 says Glue Guy, a griffin is a combo of an eagle and a lion.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, that makes sense with the... Well, no, there's horns on it, though.
Didn't they call it illegal?
I don't know, maybe it's ears.
Legal?
I thought it was horns. Maybe it's just the ears.
Ah, that makes more sense.
That's what maybe it would be.
Furry ears, almost lynx-like. Lion-like.
Nice and soft.
Bears schedule, just quickly, I'm going to run through it. At UBC, home to U of C. At University of Manitoba, home to the Rams, Regina Rams. At Huskies, home to UBC, home to Manitoba, at Regina. So we only see Huskies once. We only see Dinos once. We see UBC, Manitoba, and the Rams thrice.
I project a
twice.
6-2 season based off that schedule.
Where do you think the 2 losses come from?
I could see an opening weekend loss.
Opening weekend loss and then a loss in Griffith Stadium in Saskatchewan.
No,
That's the only things I
We're
see.
taking them down again. We're going to do 2 straight.
Well,
Again, I'm using wheeze here.
that's fine.
I've noticed.
You're honorary
Not yet.
Golden Bear.
Not yet.
Hey, you don't say that about Nate.
Plus, I don't play. That's the issue. You don't play. But
They have
that's
kiting now.
Okay, let's get to Road Warriors, which is brought to you by AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers, custom manufacturing of heavy haul trailers for mining, oil and gas equipment, highway transportation, quality, innovation, integrity. Trusted by leaders in the heavy transport industry. Get on the road with peace of mind for your large loads. AccuSteel.ca. Out at the Olympics with Road Warriors, we look at what's coming up in the schedule around sports. But beach volleyball, I think, is underway. With our Canadian women looking to advance to the gold medal match, I would assume.
They're pretty good from what I understand.
They're on this great run. I don't think we've ever won a medal at
Really?
beach volleyball.
Holy.
I'm not sure. I could be wrong on that one. Yesterday, we won our first pole vaulting title or medal since in 112 years as Newman went out there and She took the bronze. But today, sat down, waiting for you guys to show up. Morning boys to finish the show. I throw on CBC Gem. I'm looking at the events. I see sailing. I was like, I haven't watched sailing much this Olympics. I throw it on. Wasn't really the sailing I was expecting. It was women's kiting final, which was fascinating. They're on like these little like platforms, and they're kiting themselves around the water, and it was amazing. I was utterly enthralled by it. Every Olympics, there's one event that comes up that I always go, I've never watched this before. I've never seen this before. I'm loving this. I think I found my 2024 Paris Olympics one, and that is women's kiting, or just kiting in general.
I think it's despicable. I don't think it's a sport. I don't think it's an Olympic sport by a mile.
I think the way that they have Olympic sports, you could really throw anything in there now.
That's terrible. I mean, what are we doing?
We're watching.
You're on
a kite.
I mean,
it looks difficult.
You think of the, Athens and the great events of Olympics, the lifting, the sprinting, and then you have kiting.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think there's tiers to it, there's
Like
a top
good,
marquee.
bad, and terrible? Yeah.
This
kiting's
was
terrible.
You guys were watching it and enjoying it. I don't know. I'm just
give
gonna say that.
me 10 seconds of kiting and I'm done.
I could watch it. Will I enjoy it more than some other sports? Maybe not.
Fence.
It's still entertaining. The way they chug their legs are along.
Oh, there's
they're
also
in a nice area. Windsurfing. See,
I didn't watch the windsurfing.
I'd watch that.
So the kiting, how long has this been in the Olympics? That's what I'm trying to find out.
I mean, but that should be something that should be talked about here.
Why?
Like,
What's wrong with the
breakdancing? For goodness sake.
Have you watched breakdancing yet?
I don't care.
Skateboarding.
Okay, but you don't know what it's like yet.
I don't care.
So you don't know how
It's
good
not
it
a
might be.
sport. That is not a sport. What's next?
There's competitions.
Competitive coffee drinking?
That's
Competitive. Why
eating.
isn't Joey Chestnut in the Olympics then?
They could do that. That'd be very
No,
marketable.
because it would be a frigging disgrace.
Money.
I can't
Zach,
I can't comment on the breakdancing yet because I've yet to watch the break.
I don't need to.
I do because I need to see because I have there's some it's like a rhythmic gymnastics. I would assume to me there's that movement.
But it's not gymnastics.
Well, you're having to move the body and you're having to dance and there's athleticism. Not anyone could just go break
Why do we have competitive pooping then?
because everyone could go poop.
Everybody poops.
But you can really get into it and deliver a bomb. That would be. Imagine winning the gold medal in competitive.
And there would be
no,
guys.
and
Well,
then
that's a
you're
whole
like Joey
South Park
Chestnut.
episode. Literally, like there's an episode on the guys wanting to have the biggest poop ever and having the world record, and only guys cared about the world
But I
record.
mean, like-
and in the end, the biggest poop in the world, and because I can't use the word, is Bono. He ended up becoming. He was actually the world's largest poop, and in real life, he turned into Bono.
Right. They do have something against you too. That does. But honestly, why?
I think I have zero issues with it. It was great. I enjoyed it. Skateboarding's been fantastic. Like, what's the difference between skateboarding and breaking in a sense? I don't know.
Did you call it breaking? Is that what the kids
That's
call
what
it?
it's called.
I think the official wording in the Olympics is it's breaking.
Yeah.
It's not
That's even
breakdancing.
worse.
Breaking news.
And look,
That's worse.
You want to know something?
That tells you everything you need to know about it. They had to change the name to
It's just called
justify
breaking.
it.
It's just called breaking.
It's breakdancing.
The Canadian. There's a Canadian on the men's side that is a favorite. One of the favorites to
Cool.
win this.
Awesome.
Wait, again, you're against
Then you're going to
Canada.
vote
Yeah.
against him.
You just hate Canada again. We're back to this, Jay.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. It's look. You
Listen,
have to
I hope he does
celebrate a
well,
lot of
but-
sports. Is sport. What defines a sport? And I don't want to go.
It's hard.
Go down this rabbit hole.
No.
You can make the argument that golf is not a sport.
Or F1.
I won't make that argument. Well, F1's not in the Olympics,
Well, I get, yeah.
but you can make an argument that golf isn't actually a sport.
I don't know.
You
if
also
can
think
make
tennis.
There are people that make
Okay.
that argument, and I won't. I don't want to get into it because it opens up a rabbit hole,
Oh.
and I don't want to defend golf in that way right now. But so I don't know, dancing. That to me, there is a sport element to that. Like we have other Olympic sports that involve the dancing part of it, so why not just do it on feet? We do figure skating.
Yeah, they're
Now break, just
Like-
do it on your feet.
break.
Boom. With the DJ playing some music and the fasting, we don't know what songs. Like those dancers don't know what they're breaking to.
Oh, wow.
There's no pre-plan.
How
routine.
riveting.
Well, there's no routine for it. So it's like figure skating, it's a routine. Here, they just got to do it spontaneously.
Well, what are the determining factors to name a sport a sport? Because, I mean, there's a physicality of it. You have to be an athlete in some sort of sense, right? There's, I guess, a mental
No, you don't.
energy
Baseball
into it.
players are fat.
Some of them are.
Do you see the guy that
Football
played?
players are fat.
Who is that?
Some of them.
Some are.
So actually, I get worried sometimes when I see a baseball player lose weight. Because I go, you might lose your power. I've seen it enough in sports where they thin down, and like I get for their health purposes, they're like, we're trying to just get healthier, but it's like this actually might impact your career. Like I've seen that, and so yeah, like, but I don't know.
What was the Canada Day series? Riverhawks. Who are they playing?
I don't know.
And they had a
All I
third
know
baseman.
Is screw them. They ain't no Riverhawks.
They had a third baseman, the opposing team, that had
Playoff game Saturday, by the way.
a ton, and I mean a ton of junk in the trunk. I've never seen a bigger bum on anybody in my life.
Jonathan David's got a pretty good.
It was
one.
incredible.
Oh, wow.
I don't
How
know.
do we move on to...
I don't even know how he could walk.
That was against the lefties, 16-3. So they smacked them 16-3, and then you witnessed that. I guess hunk of a man. If you're,
Apparently Canada set point. Are you guys watching beach volleyball?
Yes, they are.
They're cheering. Are we going to the gold medal?
are we in the game?
No, going to the third set.
Oh, we're going to the third set. Is this gold medal or is this semifinal still? Thank you,
Keep
Gage.
us posted. I love the cheering.
That's
So it's epic.
We're behind our girl.
Where's the computer?
Actually, I forgot that.
Yeah.
Dude, can I go get it?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
you must.
You go
must.
ahead.
You guys deal with the show.
So are we going to talk about sports not being sports or anything? What are you guys' thoughts on this? What do you guys think about the Olympic sports in the Olympics? 780-218-99. You can share your thoughts, or in the nasty chat. Me, Zacticum, joined by Jay Milne and Matthew Iwanyk, went to go grab his laptop to put women's beach volleyball up on
Big game.
the
Big game.
big screen.
Big game.
It is a big game.
What happened to you?
What do you mean?
You've
Oh, this
more
is
band-aids than one might ever need to have. Is everything okay?
Yeah, no. If you guys, I don't know if you see it on the YouTube screen or anything. I got a couple band-aids on my knee and everything. I'm
Yes.
just covering up the wounds, but a little bit of a thing going on. Went to the
Breakdancing?
doctor. No
Is that from
breakdancing.
breakdancing?
No, unfortunately, I did not practice breakdancing. It's from, I guess, a different form of sport that you do on the ground, jiu-jitsu.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I was at this one gym.
Also
and-
not an Olympic sport.
No, it actually isn't. In
Much
the
to your
IOC.
chagrin, you were saying.
Yeah, well, I talked about that, I think yesterday it was, but no, they find it too similar to judo, so they didn't have jiu-jitsu in the Olympics. I can go on about that.
Yeah,
that
breakdancing
fired me
is
up.
a-
I'll forever be fired up about that.
When
At
Canada
dodgeball,
wins
too.
a gold medal in breakdancing, and we're all celebrating
You
it as a
shove it
nation,
down my throat. Sure.
you'll be celebrating with us.
I will.
He'll be breaking down.
I'll be
You'll be
breaking.
talking.
I'll be breaking.
You'll be talking about how Canada's a breaking nation, just like we're a hammer throw nation. No one throws a hammer like Canada.
Nobody. That was incredible.
Boom!
That's what I'm here for. That is the definition of Olympics. Throwing.
That's why, like, it's nice
Throwing a
to
hammer.
see, like, the 2 hammer throw golds. It's nice to see a pole vault bronze. Those are fun. Like, I'm a fan of the athletics when we get inside the stadium and there's all
Yes,
those.
yes.
And to have some Canadian celebrations at that, that's awesome.
Good old javelin.
Like, those are
give me a discus.
all of those sports that you guys rattled off, those are the big sports that when I think of the Olympics, like that's the core of the Olympics, right? And then
Yeah,
swimming's
it's-
there as well.
yeah, that's
but,
right. It's swimming,
Like there's the
it's the
tiers of
athletics.
sports. Like equestrian's way at the bottom.
Yeah.
Same
I
as
agree with
breaking.
you.
I guess.
No,
Like there's
it's
certain.
there's
it's
the
all fun.
there's the certain events that have the attention, and there's certain ones that are just there kind of things.
Well, Rip City Step was in the nasty chat and asked if Glue Guy is upset that the equestrian and the horses don't get a medal, right? Because the horses is as important as the rider, if not more.
Coaches don't get medals.
That's right. They're not competing.
Like when the U.S. men's basketball team and women's basketball team go win gold, their coaches don't get medals.
They don't compete.
Yeah.
They don't play the game. Now, I would imagine that the horse would get some sort of a ribbon. That's
carrot.
in the equestrian world. That's
Does the
very
horse
important.
care?
Is a ribbon. Does the horse care?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
I don't think. Well, last time I talked to my horses, they didn't care.
Yeah, but they're not going for the gold. They might. That might be why they might. We don't care. We don't need it.
Maybe they get a lot of alfalfa. That would be their. That would be good for them.
What would be a nice like horse treat? Like
Horse
what
treat?
kind of
Alfalfa.
Alfalfa?
Alfalfa
So-
dipped in molasses.
in molasses.
Ooh, that would be good. That would be contentious. You
don't even know what kind of
you couldn't
food
eat a
horses
lot
eat.
of that.
Just want to mention portions of this hour brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of EST, promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out, thehighproductmarketing.com. Actually, don't have any of these hats left, but got the green and gold EST hats, which is perfect for today. They're there for the Elks, but they're there for Bears Pandas.
That was clutch.
And that's why I
clutch.
wore this one today. So whoever came up with that idea of, hey, we should do green and gold hats. Brilliant.
Great idea.
Brilliant. I don't know who came up with that one.
That could have. Man.
Actually, speaking of that,
Yeah.
I wanted to do blue and orange. I got to get on that.
Oh,
I mean, there's so many things you can do.
Well,
You
I
can
want to do it for our teams.
I know, but you can do the blue hat like we traditionally have, but then I suggested light blue lettering for the Riverhawks.
That
Yeah,
would
no,
be
I
really
wanted
baby
to.
blue.
We need to do Riverhawks one for next
Like
year.
this one with baby blue.
Yeah,
that would
yeah,
be
dark
blue.
That would be
We need to do
stunning.
the Riverhawks colors next year. The one Zach has, like that's Stingers.
Yes.
We already
Yes.
have the
We
Stingers.
have-
We
we
don't
have
dealt
the
with
Stingers.
that one. Stingers Ooks works.
Yeah, Stingers Ooks work. We're not getting
Then
the
all we
Griffin's
need,
color.
like the Oilers one.
we do
need
need
blue
the
and
Oilers.
orange. That
Like
color.
that's such a slam dunk.
And then the only other thing I would say left is kind of like doing red and white, just for Canada.
I don't know about that.
oh, the
Why?
full,
What's
right?
wrong with that?
The man has entered the building.
Oh,
get
patches
them
on
on
the
right
side
away
of the
here.
hats.
Yeah, that's just added.
Yeah, I know you can do that.
That's
After.
it. We're gonna have to
You can
load
do
up
that
the prices.
after.
So there's a big man that's walking.
Tukes,
It's
EST
so
Tukes.
big.
We have EST Tukes.
Oh, really? Okay, I haven't
Yeah.
checked the shop.
Yeah, we have EST Tukes. We still have a few of those left. So
Yeah, check out the shop. EdmontonSportsTalk.com, top of the page. Is there? Are we?
oh, he just
I
kicked,
gotta-
he just
Oh,
came in and
Wow,
kicked
Trev
him right
isn't
out.
even smiling at me. He's just.
Let's do that. So
Like security
well, thanks,
guard.
Zach. Thanks for coming
Yeah.
in.
Thanks for having me.
Trev giving him props.
time.
Wow,
Boys?
maybe you did a really good job, Zach.
Maybe I did.
This is the EST Hangout reminder. The drink of Edmonton Sports Talk Hangout is 2 hoots. Don't just give a hoot. Give 2. Real brew tea, big taste, bold refreshment. It is such a summer drink. And watch beach volleyball and 2 hoots. That's kind of actually works perfect.
You know,
I'll have to
that's
get
not
into that once
bad.
I'm done this coffee.
I'm gonna have to. I may ask you a favor later and see if I can maybe
Fill up a little bit.
borrow one of
Oh.
those for the lake weekend.
Grab one.
Okay, all right.
Grab one.
That'd be great.
Just do the Will Fraser. Will just came one day, and as he's walking out, bye, Matt. Oh, you taking that? Yep. Okay, cool. Thanks, Will. And there he is.
Come on in.
The man himself.
the man, the myth, the legend.
Chris.
Large.
Nice to meet you. And
These chairs are hardly gonna hold.
we've got Chris Morris, who's the head coach of the University of
right
Alberta
in.
Golden Bears football team.
You can speak right into the side.
Yeah, the mic a little bit closer. There you go. That's how it goes.
Hey, guys.
Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate this.
No, I appreciate you having me here.
How was golf yesterday? How was the tournament?
It was good. It was good. Yeah, there's a couple alumni really upset about how they were golfing, kind of, wrecked the mood a little bit for some of us, but that's okay. Some guys just have, they wear their heart in their sleeve, so that's okay.
I saw him at one hole and I was pissed off because,
Wait, you were mad at your game?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
wasn't mad at my game. I wanted to bring my wife to this so I can show off her amazing golf skills because she
Okay.
can golf like a mother. Like she outdrives me. She was having a terrible day yesterday.
So you couldn't.
I was frustrated for her. That's what I was frustrated for.
So you couldn't. You wanted to be able to show her off.
Yes.
And you weren't able to show her off in the way that you
100%.
wanted to, and you're now mad.
Correct.
Yeah, man, I don't
Selfish.
know. I don't know whether the best way to get out of this mess for him is to throw his wife under the bus and tell everybody in Edmonton how she let him down yesterday. But I don't know. That's one
April
strategy.
just
I
couldn't
guess.
perform. We went there to golf, and she just couldn't get it done.
That's one way to go.
Actually, she did pull it together. Just at near the end, she started just making.
Isn't
good
that
contact.
golf?
I know.
You always have those bad rounds, and it's always at the end.
The end.
I'm good.
And then you're like, oh shoot, I only got
Let's
2
do
holes
another
left.
18.
Yeah.
Let's do another 18.
Well, no, thanks. Again, Chris, we talked about it yesterday, and I said, hey man, we got to get you on, and I mentioned with the Reed Wilkins show coming up how that's going to be obviously a big focus of ours, and it is with Edmonton Sports Talk, the station as well, getting local talking about local sports, Golden Bears, Pandas, Ooks, Griffins, terrible colors. But, we're going to do that a lot. So it means a lot to have you in here. And I mean, let's set it up. I mean, this it's go time, baby. Like Friday it starts. Who's back? Who's missing? How are the boys feeling? How's the team coming together?
Yeah, I think, first of all, just thanks for having us on here. And like, I think the kids at the university level work so hard, and it's a year-round commitment to sport. I think, I played pro for a long time. Like, these guys work way harder than we were asked to when I was at professional football. And I think it's really cool that you guys are starting to make an emphasis of sort of at least acknowledging the work that's going on there, right? Mm-hmm. So like we have a good, mature team coming back. So we have some really talented players of last year's team, and we were a heartbeat away last year from being pretty, from accomplishing some pretty special things. But we won't
dwell on that too much. But we'll talk a little bit about it.
We will have to bring that up at some point.
Very small
we
part.
didn't get it done, but but we were close. So, and we were very competitive, and I think we were one of the better teams in the country. We lost some pieces, but we certainly returned lots of pieces as well. Like we lost Jonathan Rosary, who was a heart and soul guy, like, a kid from Harry Ainley, who, I coached him when he was in Adam football. I coached him all the way, pretty much his whole life, right? So we're going to miss him greatly. Quadwell Bohan is one of our best defensive linemen and one of the best in the country. We'll miss him as well. Riley Safransky, who was a workhorse on our defensive line. We lose him. And we lose a few other pieces, but like really the guys we're returning into those spots that those guys are leaving are tremendous players. And, we're returning guys like the Can West Player of the Year last year, Matthew Peterson. Our entire offensive line is back. We averaged 9.8 yards a carry last year with that group. And, that's,
incredible.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist to be good on offense when you're averaging 9 yards a carry. Lots of pieces on defense back as well. Tyshawn Blackburn graduated and got drafted and stuck with the Toronto Argos, so we'll miss him. But we have, Mac Bannatyne is going into that spot. He's a tremendous player. He was pushing to start all last year. And pretty much everybody else on defense is back. So we have a great, mature, and really an earnest, hardworking group of guys. Like these guys work their tails off. They've worked from the moment of the end of last season. They were really, really hungry to get back at it. It's been exciting watching them this whole off season, and now we just need to take care of business and get going after things.
Well, and I knowing you and knowing, I was there when you first came in, and that the bar was set. That was it. This is going to be a hardworking, give it your all group of guys, and that took some time, and I know there were growing pains throughout the process, but you're here now. You're now establishing the way it is, and as an alumni, that speaks volumes, and we couldn't be more proud of how that is, because the athletics side is one thing. That's great, and it's good to be good. You want to win. You want to win the Vanier Cup. That's the goal, but the academic side is also as
that's an important standard of U of A athletics, is it not?
It is now.
Overall across the sport,
sure.
like that's always. It's not. There's some schools out there that athletics they could push the academics a little bit to the side, but U of A they go no. We need both. Is that correct?
Very demanding in that respect. And so why don't you speak about that? I ran into Dave Noonan there, who's now taking over a bit of a study hall leadership role as well as coaching running backs. But that's something that the average listener, I would say, wouldn't quite grasp the level of commitment off the field that you demand from these players as well.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to like what's ethically right to do with a U Sports football program, right? Like there is no pot of gold waiting at the end of the rainbow. Like we have Carter O'Donnell who's in the NFL and he's making pretty good money, but like even that situation, like the career of an average pro athlete's 2.5, 3 years. So like when you look at creating a university football program, especially in Canada, you need to have everybody graduating, because really what you're using football to have these guys pursue something they love to do and then have them achieve a degree where they're going to be able to, have a high standard of living when they leave the place. That wasn't really happening for several years at U of A, and I think it reflected on the field where you were fielding young teams all the time. Like unless you were bringing in junior players who were older, a lot of guys were like just not being successful in school. So there was a big turnstile of guys coming in and out, and fixing that was one of the most important things we did. Like right from the beginning, like the last 5 years we have we're over 97% with academic retention. Like our study hall program is one of the cornerstone things we do, and one of the best ways we get recruits to come here. We have some of the best recruits from across the country coming now. Now, some of that has to do with starting to win. And like, you know, when we made the playoffs for the first time and, you know, about 6 years ago, that's when people started actually coming to us, like top players. But the academic supports that we do and the way we pre-screen kids and we know about them and they start working on academics during training camp and then they have a daily study hall. That was all kind of new. And I think that's been a huge piece for us, not just in the ethical part of making sure kids graduate and do so with meaningful degrees, but also in retention of athletes. Like our team this year is going to be great because we got a bunch of 22-year-olds playing for us, not a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds who are just out of high school who are just trying to survive.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of older players who are, and you know, like we had close to 30 academic All-Canadians last year. Like almost half our roster have an A average, right? So it's a really, really good thing we got going sort of on both sides of it right now. But it took, like you said, it took time for guys to buy into this approach and to do it the right way and to work the way you needed to be successful on both fronts.
How easy is it out to recruit? Now, you mentioned a little bit the winning part of it, but like, does it help? I was trying to quickly find the stat. I couldn't find it right now. But U of A is one of the top schools right now that have produced players like alums that are playing right now in the NFL. How much does that help? That you if you are there, you have the talent, can get you to the top level.
Yeah, when I first got there, man, like I would call, like kids just wouldn't even call me back. Like not only were kids not reaching out to me, like kids, like I'd call kids and it'd be like, yeah, if they took the courtesy to answer the call, it was like, yeah, coach, like you guys, like we hadn't won a game in 3 years, right? So who of the top guys, like the Edmonton kids, the local kids, they'll come here because they know, okay, I think they got a good thing going there. I think they're going in the right direction, all that. But if you're a kid from Vancouver and you're like, well, they haven't won a game in 3 years. Who's this clown calling me, telling me he wants me to come to U of A? Like, why would I go there, right? So winning and are sort of, there's been a couple things that have helped. Winning, making the playoffs for that first time really started things coming as far as getting good players to come. But after we made the playoffs that first time, we got a bunch of kids from Calgary to commit here, a bunch of them. And like Jonathan Gastini, who's been an All-Canadian, several of my offensive linemen, Carter O'Donnell was from Central Alberta, Chevy Thomas, who's one of the receivers that we have, like Nolan O'Donovan, who's one of the best guards in the country right now. They came here and they had a great experience. We treated them well. They did well in school. They were asked to look at football as being more than just sort of an individual thing. It's more about us together. And they just had a great experience. And then we got more kids from Calgary. And then we got more kids from Calgary. And then that's how we've kind of done things is we get a few kids from a community that we think is a very good football community. And then we get more because the kids that come in have a great experience and they love what happened and their parents love what's going on. So that's the part where you sort of, initially you can't recruit, but once you start being successful, then you get a few successful kids and it just sort of snowballs. And now I could show you my phone. I get like people are reaching out to me all the time that want to come play for us. And it gets hard because as you get better, there's really good kids who want to come here who you're like, man, I already got 4 linebackers. This would be our 5th one. Like I can't really recruit this kid because where am I going to play him, right? And then that's where now you're dancing a little bit as far as
that's a great problem to have.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
Yeah,
and it's just tough because you want to, like for me, one of the big reasons I took this job is to have the high level football program in this community, right? And that's important to serve this community. Sorry.
The Canadian women's
Canadian volleyball.
beach
All right.
volleyball, they've advanced to the final. They took down Switzerland. They're moving on. Gagers super excited right there, storming in there. The 2 women there, they're very excited.
They look excited. I know. Absolutely. That's awesome.
I don't know who they're going off. They lost the first set. They won the second and third sets, and they're off to the finals of women's beach volleyball. Sorry, Chris. I'll let you
Well,
continue.
and you know what? And I keep bringing. I'm trying to bring up things that people just wouldn't get about what you've gone through and how you've developed this program.
Because this is your what?
11, I think. Yeah, including COVID. Yeah, it goes fast. Like you go through. It's funny. Like I can vividly remember. Like Justin Lawrence is a kid who's playing for Montreal now, and he's been there like 5 years.
3 Grey Cups.
Yeah, I can remember following. Like he committed to me when he was at one of our camps in the Butterdome, and I followed him and his family home so I could get him signed before he changed his mind. So I remember that like it was yesterday. You know what I mean? So and getting that first group of kids to come here and all that sort of stuff. Like so, it's just kids come in and they
Grove Street.
Yeah, Grove Street, right?
Yeah.
All those kids that came from there. That was our first wave of guys that allowed us to make the playoffs for the first time, right? They were all Edmonton kids, all local kids that won here, the Ainley kids and the Spruce Grove kids. Like it goes so fast. You get a kid for 5 years and you blink and it's like they're gone already, right? Like I look at Jonathan Rosary, like I can't believe he's gone. Like it's like It's incredible. So it's one of those things where you go through and it goes very quickly, and you get these waves of kids that come, and they all bring different pieces to it. What's really nice now is the culture we have. Like it's really, really where I want it to be around working and amount. Like, and I know some people, like, you know, there's a tendency for some people that don't really understand the highest possible level you can achieve with football and all those sort of things. And I've played with lots of guys who are in the NFL and who, you know, tons of guys in the CFL, obviously. Some people don't understand how hard it is to do that. And when you approach them to work at that level, there's differing ways to respond. There's one, I trust you, I'll do it. There's, I think it's too much. We might be doing too much here. I think we're overtraining. I think we're doing, and it's like, there's only one way. And I hate saying it, like there's only one way, and you can believe me or not, but it's like you have to outwork people. And if you're unwilling to do that, you're never going to challenge to be one of the best at what you want to do, right? And that's been, I think, the biggest thing. We have a group of guys right now who I can't give them work that they won't do. I almost have to protect them from themselves. They want to work. They will do anything we ask them to do to get better without question, and with like what else can we do? What else can we do? Like, there's guys, we have our workout program, and there's guys that like sneak in there on Sundays and Wednesdays, and they're in there doing other stuff. And it's like, man, these guys are like, they just are such hardcore, good, hardworking kids now. It's really a good, it's just sets them up right for what they want to accomplish, right? I always say to kids, when I recruit a kid, I'll always say to them, look, understand something. If you come here, I'm going to treat you as if you want to play professionally. You want to win a Iwanyk Cup, and you want to go on and play this game at the highest possible level when you're done here. And that means we're making a promise to each other. Like, I'm going to treat you that way and put that level of workload and that level of like detail in front of you. And you have to embrace that. You can't be like, well, you know what? This is too much. I don't want to do this. Like, what do you mean? My friends have the weekend off. My friends get to do this. Like, there's sacrifices that need to be made if you want to try to be better than other people, right? Like, I'll talk at training camp tomorrow. Like, there's 27 groups of kids across the country that are going to meet tomorrow for the first time, and all talk to each other about winning a national championship. Some of them will have done enough work up to that point to actually be credible and have an opportunity to do that. Some of them are just fooling themselves. I feel very strongly that our guys have done everything up till now to put themselves in that position. And now it's like, what are we going to do between, like, we have 105 days to the season, really, between tomorrow and the Iwanyk Cup. What are we going to do in those 105 days now to get better, to really legitimately have a shot at this thing? And our guys, I know our guys are going to give us everything, which I think is, it's a great thing.
This is Hangout Headlines, also brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club, offering premier conditions, top-notch service, unmatched value. Book your tee time at theranchgolf.com. That's where the Lum Golf
That's
course
where we
was
were yesterday, baby. Ran into Murray.
Condition.
It was nice.
Chris Morris with us here on the Hangout. Okay, so I don't want to dwell on how last season ended, but in sports, we've seen it a lot. We talked about it a little earlier. When you have such a heartbreaking loss to a season, sometimes going to the next season, there's the two paths you get teams. Some teams go, we don't care, brand new season, that we're just focused on 2024. Other years, this is the revenge tour. That's gonna fuel us. We don't want that to happen again. We're gonna beat UBC. We're gonna go out. We're gonna go and build off of that and make sure it doesn't happen again. Do you have a sense of which group this is?
Yeah, all I can say is I know this group was very strongly resolved. Almost immediately after that, they just got back to work, and they immediately sort of responded with, okay, we're going to work harder than we've ever had before to try to get to what we want. More attention to detail, more like, we talked a lot last year about attention to detail and about how, like, one little thing can get you if you don't take care of it. And that's what one little thing got us. Like, a couple little things at the end just sort of unraveled on us because we just couldn't. And, we could play that game another 100 times and never lose it. But we did. So that means there were some flaws in what we were doing in our approach. And, I think this team is feeling very good about things, but the reality is this team has nothing to do with last year's team. It really is. It's like, people talk about the unfinished business stuff and all. I don't believe in any of that. Like, it's like I have a collection of 110 guys this year. 30 of them are new guys, and 30 of them have never experienced any of that. And every one of those guys are very valuable to what's going to happen this year. They're going to play a huge role to our success or failure as a team. It's just the 105 days that we have. Like, it's what we do in that time. And like, everybody in the country, including, I promise you, everybody in Canada West is going to be really, really good this year. So it's like, it's up to us now to figure out how are we going to get better as every day progresses to try to compete against these guys. Cause Can West is murderer's row, man. Like, there's very, very good teams in Can West. There's no gimmies. There's no, like, several conferences in the country. You get 2 or 3 gimmies a year. You're playing against someone who's really not fully invested. like everybody in our conference can play, and they're going to play, and it's going to be, we're going to have to fight and defend ourselves and do all those sort of things to be successful. I think we got the right guys. I certainly like the dogs we have in the fight, so I feel good about it.
Well, it's funny how they scheduled that week 1 matchup, huh? Out there, back in UBC. Might be a little bit extra piss and vinegar that on the flight going out there. I must think.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember Coach Machocha had a good saying. He said, "If you're not ready for this one, you need to go see the Wizard, right? Go get a freaking new heart." And that's, you know what I mean? Like, I think we'll be ready for that game. I think we'll be ready for every game. Our guys are ready. Our guys like to play hard. They play physical football. Like it's for us. It's we just got to take care of it, execute, and do all the detail things right.
Well, it was nice running into the players throughout the course yesterday and having the opportunity to chat with them. I ran into a couple fellas that happened to be defensive backs. One is a safety. The other one was a cornerback, and they were manning this hole-in-one par 3. And so, we started talking and mentioned to them I used to be a defensive back as well. And a lot of the way of being a defensive back is you look good, you play good, right? I mean, we're a little bit different breed, certainly from the offensive linemen. But I said, how's the towel game? Because defensive backs, we like to have towels, and they said, well, and I said, we used to have towels with our numbers on them, and their mouths just dropped, the jaws hit the ground. So I'm going to ask you, because I mentioned to them, I said, look, if I can get this approved by your head coach, I will go and make, have nice long skinny towels with their numbers on them. It'll be nice. It'll look good. But you'll have a unit back there. You'll have a unit all rocking the same towels, looking good, whether it's to the side or the back. Do I have your blessing to do this?
You know what the wonderful thing about football is that it's so big that you get to have certain people responsible for certain duties.
Yeah.
And the thing I always tell the players is, I don't have time to give you number 5 or number 7 or give you a towel that is my equipment guy. Dave Fritzen is one of the best equipment guys in Canada West. And you call Dave, and if he's like, yeah, let's have some of those towels with numbers on them, then you can talk him into it. Then we can do that. All right.
All right. That's
I have no problem with that.
He pushes it off to
I have nothing to do with the equipment on this. Yeah.
He's too busy when he's got UBC on August 31st or whatever it is.
Okay.
And he's like, "I have towels right now, really?
We're talking about towels, Jay. What the hell?
Are we doing towels? I'm trying to go win a Vanier Cup here. Towels?
I will talk to Mr. Fritz, and I
have to admit that's a very DB question. I'm just going to say
I know it is. I know it's very specific. It's very specific. But I'm glad I have your blessing at least.
Yeah.
So
Well, he didn't give the blessing.
He did.
He just said you could go talk to the equipment guy.
That's fine. That is a blessing. That is a blessing in a way. Now, you mentioned that you had a good crop of local athletes come in when you started to kind of turn the tides at U of A with this program. But I was always, because when Chris first came in, I was the president of the Alumni Association. So our focus had to shift as well, because from an alumni perspective, I know that we weren't doing enough to provide, the ammunition to Chris and the program.
If a new coach is coming in to turn this program around, you guys need to do things differently and help grow this program.
Yeah, there's changes that needed to happen across the board. And, seeing the alumni tournament sold out yesterday, the annual Bears Gala now, that's a yearly event. And actually, next year you talk to EST, we'll be sure to buy a table for that. This started with you coming in and approaching it differently, and I have to give you credit on this, because you said we need to go to the Adam football level, to the kids, and start making this Gooba the presence and the highest standard of of the football that they want to achieve. Instead of going to the Huskies, or instead of going to McGill or UBC or Calgary, Dinos, screw the Dinos.
Yeah,
they'd look to come to the Bear, to the Gooba. So that was something, and where did that come from? And now I'm almost 100% certain that it's paying dividends may not be the right way to say it, but you took a different approach that I think is now starting to really work for you.
Yeah, and I think that first of all, the alumni presence at the beginning when I first got here, and the alumni being willing to jump in, yourself specifically being willing to jump in and really enhance the golf tournament, and we started that dinner together. I remember sitting down with you and Tom Richards and you know what I mean, the Spinarskis and like
Bruce Foster.
Yeah, Bruce Foster. And we sat down there and we figured out how to run this dinner to raise money. Like a lot of people don't know this. Like the year before I got here as the coach, U of A handed out $35,000 worth of scholarship money. Like that's what they handed out for their football team. Well, Calgary handed out $300,000 that same year. So you can understand what the score looked like. And that was a huge part of the problem. Like, you can, X's and O's versus Jimmy's and Joe's. I'll take Jimmy's and Joe's. You need guys who can run. Like when you're on a team that has maybe 5 guys who match up with the teams you play against, you're not going to be, as hard as you try, as hard as you work, all those different things. If they're all running 4.4s and your guys are all running 4.9s, like you're probably not going to be very successful. And that starts and ends with scholarship money. You need to have scholarship money to bring in the top players. You need scholarship money even for the local guys to feel appreciated so they can come in here and alleviate some of the work they have to do. So like for us, like one of it's building our brand, making sure that the kids know that U of A football stands for something. And we started building our camp system, and our camp system generates now, like people think our camp system, which runs year round, we have flag camps, Atom camps, Bantam, our high school academy, our minor academy. We have the selects program, which we travel internationally now to play. Like our camps program generates enough money now in combination with our gala and with our golf tournament where we're very competitive with anybody in the country. We give out as much scholarship as anyone. And for us, it's really a dual, it's almost like a sword with two edges in that it gives us the scholarship money, but we're also providing this great service for the community. All these kids are coming to our camps. They're run by professionals. They're run by professional coaches. They're run by youth sports athletes. We talk about education. We talk about nutrition. We talk about mental training, all those different things at these different camps. We just ran one last weekend, an elite camp. We started inviting kids to our elite camp over a year before it started. All the top players from BC, all the top players from Edmonton, all the top players from Calgary, from Saskatchewan, from Manitoba. And they came from all over Western Canada. We had 140 kids there, staying in residence, learning all about U of A, just sort of building that, right? So they all understand what it's all about. And then when that word goes back to those communities, U of A is not just this thing nobody's ever heard of before. It's like you said, we've built that brand, and it's now. So it's doing that for us, but it's also revenue generating for us, and so we can be competitive. And like the part I love about our camps is that like we have tons of them running. Every dollar that comes into those camps goes right back to the football community here. It goes right back to kids playing at the highest level of amateur football, right into scholarships. And that's, to me, a huge win-win. It's not like some of these private camps where guys are making money off them and guys are, making a living off doing that. This just goes right back to the kids. Like none of my staff get paid for doing camps. Like it's just one of those things we do to revenue generate so we can have scholarship money for these kids.
How do you stay in tune with the kids these days? Like it's... like even for me, I'm 33, but like we have a 20-year-old in Zach, and it's like you're learning different things about how the younger generation act and what's big to them and all that. How do you handle dealing with the change? Like even I would imagine from first year 11 years ago to now, what the kids do is quite different. Yeah. How do you handle that?
You know what's funny is when you're around them every day. So I see them every day. So we have 6 a.m. workouts all winter. I see them all during the season. So it's easy to at least understand where they are with things and what they're doing. Now, I'm not like, I'm 56 years old, so I'm not doing the things that they're doing.
You're not getting on TikTok and all that.
No, but I can appreciate what they're doing. I can see what they're doing, and I see how it impacts their lives, and I can relate to them because I have an understanding of what their worlds are all about because I'm around them every single day. And that, to me, is a big part of it. Like the fact that we're so connected as a group just because of how much time we spend together, right? And it's one of those things where if I were to distance myself, so if I wasn't around them between the end of our season until like April or whatever, and I didn't see them every single day, then I think you start to get a little bit distant. You lose perspective of the struggles they're going through and the things they're dealing with and the world that they sort of live in, right? But when you're around them every day, as much as sometimes you don't really understand it, at least you can relate to it, and I think that's where we're at with that.
Oh my gosh, I remember sitting in your office and you're like, Jay, I swear to God, I'm on my I'm on Instagram now more than my kid. You know, like it was incredible because that's you know.
Well, that's what
how
the
it's gotta
recruiting
be,
a little
right?
bit is. They're
That's
finding
all
players.
recruiting. Yeah. So also recruiting, like you guys think recruiting, like I can't imagine what it was like 30 years ago when you had to go watch high school games,
Yeah.
you had to talk to high school coaches, you had
Great point.
because it's during our season, so it's really hard to get out. Even when we can get out, it's really we're there quickly and then we're out, right? So you got to think to yourself, I can type in a kid's name and the term huddle and watch any kid in the country's film like the instant I want to. And then then I just go on to Twitter, and then I type their name in, and then I DM them so I can contact them. And then you know what the best part is? Then I DM them, and if they friend me back, which they all do because they all want to talk to university coaches, all of their friends come up on it too. So now all the top kids from that community are all right there. So now you can message those. It's just there's a really good vehicle with social media to contact kids from a football recruiting standpoint. And if you're smart and you understand that this is where all the kids are, then you have a huge advantage over, you know what I mean, over people who don't want to ride the tide, right? And to me, it's, you know, if you're not doing those things, if you're not doing everything you can to get the best kids here, then you're not going to win. It's just, it really is. Like I can say whatever I want about X's and O's. I'm telling you guys, if you don't have better players, you are not going to be successful. And it's just everyone's well coached in Canada West. Everybody across the country is well coached. If you don't have guys who can win one-on-one matchups, you're probably going to be in trouble. And I think that's where we've made the most growth over the last 5 or 6 years. Is we've just gotten more and more top level kids interested in coming to us, and when we've gotten them, we've really developed them well.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot of people say that social media is good these days. So it's
like
there's the
sorcery,
positive of that, right?
And Huddle, for those that don't know, HUDL is the site that is used for game film. I mean, I know when I was with the Wildcats, I'm no longer doing that, but that Huddle was a huge thing as far as players being able to look at the film themselves, break down film, and you know, for recruiting, it's huge. The kids now have the ability to put together a mixtape, you know, so to speak. I remember when I was playing, I had to make a tape for All Canadian to go to be, you know, if you were an all conference player, then you could submit your tape, or at this point it was a DVD, to the All Canadian committee for their voting. And Jason Lafferty and I had to sit in Jerry Friesen's office, and he was a guru of this type of editing at that point. And we were able to tape together a 40-second video for your All Canadian. Now, bloop, 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 it's done.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing. Do you guys use Huddle for your film, or you have that done in house?
We use the same program as the pros do. So DV Sport is what we use.
Yeah.
It's just it's got a huge spreadsheet. It's got a data analyzer, DV Sport, so you can really tendencies and all the different things that your opponents do. So it really gives you good spreadsheets and information about that. We do the tapes for our kids now. We don't make them do it. Laugh should have done that for you.
He helped me, which was big enough. That was nice of him to do.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know, one other, I got to bring this up because you know we talked about it earlier in the show. Matt's probably the biggest Bears fan I know. I mean this like legitimately. However, he went to NAIT. He went to broadcasting school,
okay.
right? So I'm going to ask you another question, and you can say yes or no. But this ultimately hinges on how you feel about Matt, who I will say, I mean this, the biggest Gooba Pandas fan that I know. He wants to be, you know, formally almost knighted as, you know, a Golden Bears. You know, he can say we, us. Are you willing to knight him and crown him that honor?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There you go.
Yeah.
Now you are a Gooba. You can say we.
Just one
it's
more in the
us.
family. It's good.
There's one
It's
more
good.
in the fold, right? No, we're looking forward to it. Actually, looking forward to the tailgating you guys got going on down there. Like that is a vibe.
There was like, I mean, maybe it's just because we were around it and we were talking about it a lot, but it felt like there was a lot more attention on your team last year as the season grew, as the season built. Did you feel that? Did you feel that there was more attention as because it was a really successful season? You went to Saskatoon and you beat the Huskies.
Yeah.
You know, that was the first
That's
time
big.
since
Yep.
in a long time.
Yeah.
Did you feel that there was a little bit more of a buzz or an energy from outside focused on your team?
Yeah, absolutely. Like anytime you're successful, right? It's really like we really have been like, it's funny because we were terrible and then we were decent, and we just kept chipping away at being decent for several years where we were okay. We had lots of good players, but last year we really figured it out. Like, our guys figured out how to be successful continuously, and we really figured out how to do some things really well. Unfortunately, we couldn't figure out UBC in the end, but the reality is, like, I think when you're successful, people want to be part of that, right? And that's, I think, going forward, we've got a lot of things that it looks like we're going to be able to continue this going. We have lots of good players. We have great staff. We have lots of continuity with what we're doing right now. So it's really nice to have other people invest in what you're doing, especially when you believe in what you're doing. Our kids all believe in our program. Our kids believe in, and they're proud of it, right? So it's nice to have the community sort of embrace it.
Well, speaking of the sports community, the football community in Edmonton, we'd be remiss if we didn't have, Ring of Honor recipient, former Eskimo great Chris Morris speak on where you see this team right now. And I mean, it's been a few trying years, to say the least. As an alumni, I mean, short term, sure, they picked up the win last week in Saskatchewan. Sure, Trey Ford is excited, but what's the vibe do you feel from the alumni perspective as to the direction the team is heading, where the team's been?
Well, I think it very much depends on who you talk to from an alumni standpoint. There's been some negativity, and there's been some people like I'm not as negative as a lot of people about where they are. They've lost a lot of close games this year. I think there's hope for that group of people that are playing on that team. It's, to me, the disappointing part over the years has just been the continuity. The kids, like even with the team, it just seems like there's just a lot of turnover compared to what it was when we were very successful. Like, we always knew there was going to be a core group of guys that would hold on to what the culture is, right? Mm-hmm. And that seems to be like, it just seemed to be, that wasn't a priority. It was just like, bring a new guy who can do, it just didn't seem like development of the culture had been a priority. But that being said, I think there's enough there for them to be successful. I think Trey's a really good quarterback. I think their other quarterback's very good too. I think, like, I don't think quarterback was necessarily the issue. I think they made a few little mistakes in key games that were very, very close games that they lost. If they would have won 4 of those games, none of this would be, we wouldn't be talking about any of this right now, right? Yep. And that's always the hard part about pro football is you have to win. Otherwise, there's no excuses. That's your only mandate, right? It's so... I'm not as negative as a lot of people about them. I think they have lots of pieces in place. I would like to see more continuity. I'd like to see, like, there were always good people involved with it when I was there. Rick Lawlisher coming back is a huge addition to me. He's an honest, like an earnest, hardworking guy. He has integrity, and I think that's important. And I think that's a big reason for him to be there to sort of set this thing going into the future, to have people like that in charge. Because like, everything else aside, if that organization goes back to being where it was, where everybody in the community respected it and trusted it, and they did what they said and they said what they did, like that changes everything, I think. And I think that's very plausible to come back. And it's been a bad run, and I understand how disappointed everybody is right now, because everybody, like, you got to remember, when I played, we never missed a playout. Like, it was 30 whatever year, we never
35. I think it was 34 straight.
Yeah, like we never, like, so it was like.
It wasn't making the playoffs for Eskimos at the time. It was, are you hosting a playoff game or not?
Yeah,
like that's what the standard was. It's like, you better be hosting a playoff game, not being on the road as a third seed.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, in my 14 years there, if you didn't win a Grey Cup, it was a disappointing year. Like, it was like, we're not here to, I remember we had one down year. I can't remember when it was, and everybody was like, well, it's okay, everybody has a down year. And it was like, there was guys on the team that were just like, who says that? We don't have down years here. Like, that's not how that works here, right? So it's just, they got to reframe. It's hard once you're losing. And trust me, now I've been part of something where it was like your culture has been defeated. You just, like, it takes some time now to build up to what they have. Like, the good thing about them is they don't have to develop. It doesn't take them 4 years to develop someone. Like, they can bring in guys who can play, right? And and I think they're really, really close. It's just unfortunate they didn't win a couple of those games, because I think it would have been very different so far this year, and I still think they can turn it around. It's just, I think a matter of time. So I'm not negative. I would love to see more, like, just more sort of the old way of doing it. I know everybody talks about that all the time, but just that whole piece, like, more Rick Lawlisher, I guess is the best way for me to put it. Like,
it was successful. Like, 34 straight years making the playoffs. Like, when you talk about this franchise doing things the old way, it's like, well, it was really good.
Yeah.
It was a really good way of doing things. Has the struggles of the Elks, does it affect you in recruiting or like football, or do you not feel it that there's any sort of connection between what's going on there and what happens in the community and when going for football players and stuff?
It doesn't hurt us from recruiting.
No.
It's, they've been huge partners with us, helping us get back to where we need to be scholarship wise with their 50-50 program, right? So it's a huge help for us. I know for them, they're struggling a little bit with attendance and all those different things. That affects us a little bit, but it's not like they do everything they can to help amateur football. People can say whatever they want about the Edmonton Elks right now. Like they've over the last 4 years in particular, they have done everything they possibly can to re-engage with the community and try to get everybody going in the right direction. And they're working hard at that. And we really appreciate that. We really appreciate the 50-50 money and even just the stuff they do with amateur football, just to build. We want more kids playing this game, right? And I think they take that on. They take that role very seriously as being sort of the captains of that ship.
We've got the Olympics on here. We're watching the women's volleyball. Is the Olympics on in the Morris household, or are you too damn busy?
I don't watch a lot of TV, especially right now before camp. My wife's watching the gymnastics right now. She watched the gymnastics, and that was on quite a bit for a while. It's funny, like guys, everybody works, so I'm not trying to say, but when I go home at night, I'm recruiting. Like I'm basically texting kids because that's when they're home from school, and that's where. So I'll my wife laughs all the time. We always start watching movies together, and she just within 2 minutes, I'm like, so it's
sorry, honey.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of TV, but the Olympics, like I said, we've watched a little bit of gymnastics. That's pretty much, and then the volleyball I saw today was
that was about your fill. Right? Are there any? Back to the program. Are there any big recruits you want to mention? Any players to watch, sort of things, or even I know there was a few coaching changes as well that happened. So set us up for what to look for, who to watch, and kind of how the team has taken shape this year.
Yeah, I think we have everybody talks about a run game and all those different things. We have some of the best receivers in the country. Like we really do.
I agree.
We have some very dynamic, explosive players. Our two wideouts. Chevy Thomas and Colby Herford. Herford's one of the fastest kids in the country. Yeah. Chevy's one of the best route runners. Great hands. Our interior guys. The guy that's taken over for Rosie, Torhelm, Eric Torhelm, is he's a 6'4", 230-pound kid who can run really well. Physical, tough kid. Oren Schellenberg's a kid from JP, and I could show you the text on my phone. He was one of those kids. He wasn't highly recruited. They ran the double wing so he never got the ball. He never caught the ball at JP the whole time he was there, really, right? And he was calling and texting, and I'm like, Oren, I don't know whether I got room for you guys. Thank God I signed him. This kid is he runs like a 4.4, low 4.4s. I think he bench pressed 225 close to 20 times. The kid is a off the charts athlete.
Is that Schellenberg Schellenberg's son that used to be a quarterback for the Bears?
No, I don't think that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they might be related. But
Okay.
And the kid's unbelievable. And then our Carter Kettle, honestly, Jimmy Ralph was the kid out of Raymond many years ago now. Kettle was better than him in high school, and Kettle's with us now, and he started to emerge as a player last year. Our receiving core is just so dynamic, and then our quarterback Eli Hetlinger, he's really
that's your guy. That's your only guy.
Well, he really has evolved into he just knows the game so well. He knows where to go with the ball, and we have a couple other quarterbacks who are very good as well right now. So we're just in a really, really good spot right now with the guys we have on this team offensively. Defensively, our secondary is as good as anybody in the country. We can really cover. We can play. Our linebackers can run. Our D-line's a little young this year, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with our defensive line. Our interior guys, I'm very, very I feel very good about. A couple of our ends are a little bit younger. Lindsay's our veteran end that's coming back. He's a junior guy who came in. This is going to his third year here. He's going to be really, really good. But we have some young guys that are going to be rotating into that other end, so we'll have to see how they do. I think they're going to be fine, but we gotta. That'll be the one spot where we're a little bit young.
Well, and you say that secondary is good. I mean, wait till they all have matching numbered towels.
Maybe
they'll be flying around there.
Maybe
I have to see this through.
Well, you got to get the approval still.
I know him. I can work on him. Did
you play with him? When was he there when you were there?
No, his son Sebastian was with the Wildcats and was the equipment manager there. And Seabass is done now, right? Or is he still playing?
He's got a chance. You know what? Seabass is an interesting story because he came He was in junior for a while, and then he was a late sort of bloomer and a late addition to school. But he's really he trains really hard. Sebastian has a
hardworking son of a
really,
gun.
really strong work ethic, and he's gotten stronger. And he's this tall, lanky kid who's now starting to get some muscle on him, and he's stronger. And as a punter, like when he hits it, it goes. So
Yeah.
he's starting to really, show some signs here. Now it's tough because our two-time All-Canadian safety also punts and does our field goals, and he's one of the
GST,
best at
yeah.
both of those too.
Yeah.
So it's really not easy to get on right now as a punter or kicker with us. So and we've signed some really good punters and kickers too. But he's still got eligibility because he's still doing his degree, so he's still got
Yeah.
some eligibility left. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does over the next little bit.
Well, speaking of eligibility, I still have 1 year remaining. I could maybe come in as a master's student and suit up back there for you if you need. If you need a tall.
What was the
dark-
nickname again?
Mine?
Yeah. What
I
did
didn't-
Jed call you? Didn't he say that you had a nickname or something? Was it Bone Crusher? Or something?
He called me Bone Crusher. I
Yeah.
don't know if that stuck, but
Well, I think if Jed is going to give you a nickname like Bone Crusher, you make that stick.
I sure call me Bone Crusher then, baby. I would get kicked out of every game. Like with,
Maybe that's for the team. Maybe if they need just that one play,
Yeah, just a spark.
to send a message of the
Where I
spark
just
guy.
take
Also,
somebody's
things
head
that you
off.
need. Jay,
Yeah.
get out there.
Well, I mean, when I
Or
played,
glue guy.
Well,
Well, it seems like they're pretty close though.
But
so-
that was a different game. When I played, that was the way you hit. You went right for somebody's head and tried taking it off of their body. Literally, that was what you did. And now that's why I said like I wouldn't last the series.
Yeah,
With
very
the
different.
shenanigans.
Yeah, how much
I
has
do.
the game changed for you? What you've seen from when you were playing to
It's incredible. How
to now
much
as
it's
where you're
changed.
coaching?
It's a very safe game now. Like it's better, I think, for the kids from a safety standpoint. It's a very different game because there's no like the level of fear that you played with. I think in the past, some of the guys that would go over the middle, or some of the like, and even the quarterbacks, the way they could get hit. Like when you look at some of the old tapes with some of these quarterbacks getting hit like 2 steps after the ball's thrown. Like it's a miracle that they stayed alive. Like it really is. It was such a physical game 15 years ago, and it's still physical. It's still the most physical game in the world, but it's still very different than it used to be. Like Jay's right. Like you used to teach kids like your helmet's under his chin. And if the guy goes over the middle, if your helmet doesn't collide under his chin and you don't make that's not a good thing. And that's just the exact opposite to the way it's taught now and the way everything's done with the game. But it's like I can remember in the NFL, like this is 10 years ago now, and Antoine Bolden went over the middle, and I think it was Ed Reed who hit him right under and broke his jaw. And he was out, and the medical team came out, and the commentators were like, "Yeah, what a great play, what a great hit by Ed Reed." And it was just like that's what the game was very, very raw and basic back in those days, right? And it's really, I think the way it is now has more parents having their kids be involved with the sport, which I think is good, but it also is just a little bit of a different feel. So yeah, it's different for sure.
Okay, this may be a stupid question, but as an offensive lineman, is it easier to coach offensive linemen, or is it easier to coach defensive linemen because you coach them and like this is how you could beat offensive linemen?
Yeah, I think both positions are far more technical than people understand.
Yeah.
Like it's the defensive line position. There's a lot to it. You have to be twitchy and you have to have change direction and all that. It's O-line's tough because it's when you say to someone I have to prevent you from getting from here to there. There's a million things you can do to get from here to there. And as an offensive lineman, there's just so many different ways to lose your balance or not do it right or whatever it is. Offensive line is a very tricky position to play. I think a defensive lineman, if you're a really, really good athlete, you can just be really good at it, even if your technique is a little bit subpar. So but D-line, like I'm telling you, like if you're good technically and you're a great athlete, you're going to be a pretty good player. We have a kid right now, Ty Anderson, in our program. So he came in, he was about 320 pounds when he started with us. He the first couple of years he played at that weight, and he was good, but he wasn't great. The last 2 years, he's gone from that to about 285 pounds, and now his strength and everything else has gone way up, and he's doing really well. He's just one of the better defensive linemen in the country right now. But he's very technical too. He knows how to stay low. He knows how to use his hands and all that stuff. So, as an offensive line coach myself, I'll say, it's easier to coach the defensive line, but
There's got to be something to the fact that you've had great success with the offensive linemen that you've brought in. It's
an O-line factor.
I've referred to it as O-line U because you have one of the greatest to play it as your head coach, but you're the head coach. You're not the offensive line coach.
Well, I do the O-line.
You do?
Yeah,
you do handle
I've done
that.
the
I was
O-line
going to
for-
say,
yeah.
do you sneak over to that
Yeah.
individual period, or you're in charge of that, and you're? I mean, that makes sense. That's very relieving to hear, and that kind of answers that question as to how the hell are you putting all these guys through and doing this and sending them to, pro careers. But as an offensive lineman anywhere in Canada coming up,
I think there's only one spot you want to
You'd
go.
be remiss if you did not go to U of A.
Yeah,
Right?
and it's funny because we've always had, like, for years, I do a lot of work with the offensive line. I spend a lot of time doing the individual. I plan their days for them. I make sure they're prepared with cards and everything, make sure they know what's coming, right? And I always have a guy that's coached with me or played for me working with me, so I can okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And Peter Kajushka is the guy who did it last year and is going to do it again this year with me, where it's like I trust him. He knows the things that I think are important, and he makes sure he gets those things across to the kids. Tom Den, I have 2 or 3 O-line coaches, so I can be involved and get it going and start working with it. All off season I can work with it, but then I can also give them time to do with it as well. So it's we've been fortunate. Well, I think we've had some really good athletes come into our program at offensive line, and we've had some really tough kids come into our program at offensive line. And Lawrence and Corday and Carter O'Donnell and Harkey was here and Joe McQuay. We had a line of like really tough kids, and they kind of set the benchmark for, okay, this is how we play here. Like, we have some tough kids that play the right way.
Yeah.
And I think that's just kind of carried forward. You sort of build that culture, and that's how the guys do it from going forward. So I honestly think, so that line, so Corday and Lawrence are in the CFL. Harkey got drafted, didn't make it, but was in the CFL for a cup of coffee, and O'Donnell's in the NFL. I think our line this year is better than that line. I think our O-line this year is very, very strong.
How many returning players from last year?
Everybody. So
okay,
everybody's
because
back.
that was like,
Yeah.
it was watching you guys play, just some of the run plays that you had was just, it almost seemed unfair because by the time the running back also first got like close to any contact, was a good 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. And then you had good running backs who then would make the player miss or something. It was just easy to run the ball, it looked like, for you guys. And
Yeah,
that O-line was just so impressive last year. That's incredible to hear.
Yeah, it's
They're
going to be
all
fun.
back.
Like, they're
Beautiful to
good.
watch.
They're good. Yeah, they're good players. And like I said, it's to say that because that other line was very good too.
Yeah, that says a lot.
It's just they're just sort of like we're just a little quick. Our guards are smaller, but they're quick. They can move and they can run and they can and our tackles are bigger. Like we just have a good Cody Newman's a kid from Salisbury who's just a mean, tough, good kid, and he's just like he just plays right. He kind of sets the tone for us. And our center Daniel Shen's been all Canadian 2 years. And like he went to camp last year with the Argos, and he'll probably go back again next year. But he's another sort of a tone setter for us. Like we got a lot of guys who just play the game the right way, and they love to play.
Well, and offensive linemen, as you know, and as you were when you played, they need to be nasty. Like downright, they'll bite your face if they have to. Like that's when you're saying tone setters, that's those guys, because that being in that interior, that is a dogfight.
Yeah, I always say to the line, like one of my first things to every group I talk to, like you're the teeth of the offense. Like, if you're soft, we are soft. We are not going to be able to run the ball. We are not going to be able to protect our quarterback. If you're soft, we're soft. So you have to be sharp and tough and mean, and that's how you play. That's how you play the game. The defensive guys they should watch on film and not want to play against you. And if that's not happening, you're probably not very good. You know what I mean? And I talk about that a lot. Like everybody watches each other on film, right? And you're either looking at the film going, man, I can't wait to play these guys. Or you're like, man, I wish we were playing someone else this week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good feeling.
And that's, to me, that's where you want to be, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you can really self-evaluate yourself.
I'll just say that I've worked with Dave Jamieson for a long time, and I've heard some stories about the offensive line of those Eskimo teams from the early 2000s. So you guys were tough to play against.
Yeah,
You guys were such an O-line too. What, Bruce
Oh my
Beaton,
gosh.
yourself, Dan Comiskey,
Tim Princeton.
Kevin Lesford for a little bit.
Lefty was there, yeah.
Oh, that was
Leo Groenwagen.
Groenwagen,
Yeah.
and
Sandy Annunziata came for a year or two
Yeah,
He was there
in
for 1
there.
year, I think.
Good one, yeah.
Oh, there was no wonder you guys went to 3 Grey Cups in 4 years at a point, 1, 2
Can you
of them and
imagine
stuff
having
like
that offensive line? Like, and who was your quarterback? Like
Ricky Ray and,
Yeah.
and Jason Maws here and there, right? So it was
Yeah.
kind of it was nice because they're all Canadian too, and that was like it just allows us ratio wise. If you have tackles that are Canadian, it just changes things as far as where you
Sure,
can use. You know what
sure,
I mean?
sure,
So
sure.
there are not many tackles anymore in the league, so it's like Canadian tackles. So it's like for us to have 2 was like really good.
Yeah, I was spoiled as a young kid because those were the teams I grew up on.
Yeah.
And got me into being an Eskimos fan and stuff, and just how good that offensive line was, and then the whole team was, and to your point, like Canadians, and what that opens up, and Yeah, spoiled with that. And then you had Sean Fleming, who did both duties.
Yeah.
That opened up a
That
roster
was
spot.
big.
Yeah.
You know,
And
there's
he
not,
was-
you don't see that a lot off nowadays, kicker, punter, and stuff. And Sean was doing both of those.
And he was
so-
exceptional at both
Yeah,
of
he
them
was
too.
really good. Yeah, Sean was a great player. Like he was, I think underappreciated in a lot of ways, Sean, because it was, but I think he was one of the best punters and kickers in the league.
Who was the? I mean, you practiced against some of the greats as well, but and maybe this will be a part of your answer. But who was the guy you said, "Oh God, this guy again"? Like I gotta deal with him for 60 minutes.
Yeah, it's funny because all the top sack guys at the top of the list were all played during my era, right? So like Joe Monfort and Alfred Payton and those guys were all playing, right? So like Monfort was very, very good. I thought Monfort was the best I ever played against. Alfred Payton was a close second. Both like I think Alfred Payton's second in the league in sacks. I don't know where Monfort is, but Monfort had a run where he had 20 plus sacks every year for like 4 or 5 years in a row. So
Amazing.
and they eventually played for us, which was good. That was the
You
nice part
eventually
about
got
it.
them.
Yeah. Well, when Hugh Campbell's around, the best players just somehow end up in your locker room at some point. And you're all of a sudden you're doing okay, right? So that's I still remember seeing Joe Montford was at our medical, right? And one of the medical people, like, they didn't know. They were like, "Oh, sorry, what's your name?" I go, "This is Joe Montford, and he's the best acquisition you've made in the last 10 years." It's just a guy you just don't want to play against, right? It was just those sleepless nights trying to play some of those elite pass rushers, right? And you're just like, man, I just don't want to be the reason we're not successful, right? And
Right.
like we gotta win this matchup, or at least I gotta hold my own in this matchup, right?
Well, and just a motor that wouldn't stop. And Monford wasn't the tallest guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that might have actually been, if you're blocking down here as opposed to here, and he's almost like a bat out of hell running underneath you almost, because, the height difference there would have been astonishing to see in real life. But, I used to play flag football, and we went down to provincials one year in Calgary. And of course, we're short benched. Some of the guys are too hungover to play in the next day's game. So I'm playing D-line, and who do I go up against was Rocco Romano, the great offensive tackle from the Stampeders. And I've never felt more useless in my life. It just gobble you up. It was amazing. I mean, who did you have a mentor or somebody because you went to the University of Toronto and came out and you were drafted right into Edmonton?
Yeah, right to Edmonton.
So you played your whole career there, right?
Yeah. Actually, I got very lucky. So I got here my first year, and the line was set. Like, the line they were all 10-year guys, 12-year guys. It was a very, very veteran group. And Trevor Bowles, who was very, very helpful to me all training camp, and this is what you do, and this is how you do it, and this is how you conduct yourself. Very, very, I still think very fondly of Trevor when I think about it. And even Dermott and Conop, they were all here, and it was a really good group. Randy Ambrosi was a commissioner. He played guard beside me there.
Yeah.
And Trevor blew his pec out about halfway through camp. And then they just stuck me in there for some reason. I don't know. So honestly, I started that first year. I started every year because a guy got hurt, and that wouldn't happen. Like, if he was healthy, there's no chance that I'm playing in that position at the beginning of my first year. So for better or worse, you get kind of stuck. You get thrown to the fire, right? And then you either survive or you don't. And it was like, for me, he was such a good mentor leading up to where he got hurt, and even after he got hurt, when he was still around, he didn't stay around for the whole season. He was just very helpful in me sort of figuring out what to do. So. Yeah, it's funny. You do one of two things, right? Some guys get threatened by other people coming in, and some people are very, very helpful for that. I've always thought, if you're on a team, anybody who's there deserves to be welcomed, and everybody deserves, and then it's competitive integrity. Who's better gets to play, and that can't be personal to you. You just got to try to be the best guy, and then see what happens.
Now, speaking now to today's team, to the current Elks that we see and watch, and as an offensive lineman, the question, I mean, we've talked about it, the Trey Ford effect. Javon Leake ran for 169 yards and three touchdowns last game. And
Rankin had another 40-ish or something
Rankin,
like
I mean, you'd think that Trey Ford would be a rushing attack, but he, stepped in and threw in the pocket, and it was just a different looking team.
Look good.
It looked good, didn't it? Yeah. As an offensive line, though, I mean, what's harder to block for, or what's harder to protect? Is it a dual threat like a Trey Ford, or is it a pocket passer like Macbeth?
Yeah, I think it all depends on release time, right? So if you got a kid, if like someone who gets the ball out quickly, like Anthony Cavillo was infamous for this. The ball was gone in like 2-point-something seconds every single time.
Same with Danny McManus, right?
McManus was the same way. Yeah, very similar quarterbacks, right? Where they know where the ball is going, so it's out, right? Those guys are really great to play for because you know that you got to get in front of your guy. You can take your set. You're not going to have to hold on forever, right? We had a few guys over the years here, like we had Kerwin Bell here, Jimmy Kemp here. They just held the ball a long time, so it was hard. It was really, really hard to protect for them as long as what you needed to, and it was very, very different. The guys who can run, like Nealon Green or like Trey Ford, like Damon Allen. It slows the rush down because the guys don't want to lose contain. They don't want to have the guy break out. So it does make them rush a little bit more conservatively. They're still coming at you and they're still doing all those sort of things, right? But it's a little different. If you have a pocket guy, like Danny McManus was a pocket guy, so you'd get a full rush every time, but the ball was out. So like, you get beat once in a while, it's okay because the ball's out. If it's a mobile guy who also gets the ball out, then they're in big trouble. Like it's really hard to defend in the Canadian. They field's so big, right? Because the ball's either out or then now they scramble and like there's just lots of room to run. The one concern is like just the injury piece, right? So Trey's a huge asset for that team, and that like you want him running because you want him bringing some things, but you certainly don't want him like he made a lot of circus runs last game that were like, man, like look at him extend the play. Like, you want him making like. At key points in the season, you want him to do stuff like that for you, but I don't know that you want him doing that all year. I think you want him running here and there, but like there's times where you just got to go down and continue because he's a great pocket passer too. Like he was throwing the ball from the pocket, he was doing some really, really good things in the pockets. You just got to make sure, you don't want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg, right? And that's where sometimes like a guy like that, like I understand that first game, and to his defense, like. It's almost like seems like every time he'd made a mistake up till then, it's like he just gets pulled, right? He doesn't get the opportunity to do more and to do more. So he's just like, man, I gotta make hay while the sun is shining here and show them everything I can do, right? So hopefully as the season progresses now, he has a stronger sense of self-preservation, and he picks his moments when he puts on the magic juice or whatever it is that he does to run around, right? So like he's a good player. It's fun watching them when he's in there, and I think the running game having them to have to worry about the quarterback contain and all that zone read stuff, that does open up the running game. It gives a little bit more space for the backs to hit.
See if they can duplicate that on Sunday as they take on the Lions without VA. So it's actually the Elks are favorite going into that game.
I think they should be, given what they did last game to the best rushing defense in the CFL.
I know, but BC's going to be hungry. They got shut out.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like I can't imagine being a football team that just got shut out, and like how you're going to be so pissed off and ready to respond, and then it's going to be like a week and a half almost off between games. That Lions team's coming in hungry. So it's going to be fun to watch. Green and Gold kickoff show 4:00 on Sunday. As Jay and I will have it covered for you. 3-time Grey Cup champ. Is there a favorite one in there, or is it like picking children that they're all wonderful?
They're all so different. Like the first one was wonderful because it was like my second year there, and it was like I just wanted to prove that I belonged. I just wanted to prove that I could not let everybody down here and make sure you know what I mean. So we won it with me playing for the team with a bunch of people that I really respected deeply, right? And I was like, I'm just so happy to be here and contribute. So that was special that way. The second one, it was 10 years between us, the first one and the second one. So it was just such a relief. We were so close so many times that it was like that ring. We worked so hard to get back to the pinnacle because we were. Yeah, it was just we just couldn't get it done for so long, and there's so many years there where we were so close, and it was just so that one was a big relief. And then the last one, there were a bunch of us who were old, who people were like, these guys are too old to play, they shouldn't be on the team, they should be cut, and that was all year. They were starting. That was just when like stuff started coming out online and all. And I'd never been one to watch that stuff, but all that stuff was getting said, and it was like. It just felt very good to win it when everyone was saying
in
these
your face
clowns can't do it. You know what I mean? These guys can't do it anymore, and you know what I mean. So that was good. So I think they're all different. They're all I think of different memories from different rings, right?
The defense of 05 was my favorite Eskimos defense I've ever watched until the 15 came. That was just so loaded too. That was my favorite.
Give me some names.
Well, yeah, Montfort was. No, I don't think Montfort's on that team.
Yeah, 05
was Montfort on there? Rashid Genty was on the D line. You would have thought AJ Gass Senior would have been.
Yeah.
You would have had Shannon Garrett in the backfield.
Donnie
Kelly
Brady?
Wiltshire.
Is Donnie Brady then?
Donnie Brady might have been gone by then.
I think Malcolm Frank would have still been there.
Malcolm Frank, sure.
Like, it was just across the board. Like, it was loaded. And they gave up one game where guys rushed for 100 yards on them. And it was Troy Davis. And they ended up adding Troy Davis at the deadline.
Right at the end,
yeah. And then he became the running back for that team. And that Grey Cup game of 05 was... that to me is my favorite, like the best Grey Cup game I ever watched. Entertainment-wise. It was back and forth. I could imagine playing in that game. And
yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was a good one. And it was... I just somehow thought we were going to win that game the whole time. I just didn't think we could lose to those guys. We thought we were better than Montreal. Like, even when they beat us at home here.
In 02?
Yeah, I must have spent like 2 weeks straight in my basement after that game. Like, I couldn't stomach that we lost to those guys in Commonwealth, them up on the stage. Like, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It was just heartbreaking to lose to those guys because we honestly thought we were better than that team, and it was, and we just couldn't make a play. There was things that happened in that game where we just couldn't quite get it done. Even right at the end, we had a chance to do it. We just didn't get it done. So it was very disappointing. But like, yeah,
05 was the rubber match. Like, because you guys didn't win 03 against Montreal.
Yes.
You meet again in 05. It was, well, who's the best?
Yes. Who's the best team? And we both thought we were, and it was like, and we got them, right? So that was good. And, I'll tell you, like, you talk about the Lions coming to town and all, like, if you got the best quarterback, you're going to win most of the games in the CFL. And that's where the Lions don't have their quarterback. So I'm feeling pretty good about the Elks' chances, right? And that's, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's such a quarterback-driven league that you have to have a better quarterback than the other team if you're going to have a shot.
Well, look at the struggles that they've had, right? With I've been very, very tough and outspoken about Cornelius last year. That was brutal.
Yeah.
That's not a guy that's going to carry you. Macbeth, I had higher hopes for it. And honestly, to start the season, that was
It wasn't the issue.
It wasn't the issue, as you alluded to as well. He fell off. Speculations about it with the personal stuff, injury, who knows? But now it's Trey Ford's ball. And I kind of want just a definitive Trey's our guy. Trey's who we're using going forward, because it hasn't come out. There's always been, like you said, somebody looking over his shoulder and if he slips up, we can go back to no, screw that. Where are you at in the season? You're 1-7. Like, you've got nothing else to lose. You've got the only thing you can do is be better.
And he excites the fans. And if that brings fans out by saying he's our starter, number 2's behind center, it might get people to come out there. I got 2 more questions for sure. Okay, so I'll start. UBC, tough loss coming into this season. Can you draw on 02-03 going into this season? The fact that you lost such a close game and coming back for the next year, or is...
Yeah, I can. But I don't really matter.
Is there a way to... But is there a way... Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can... And I'm trying,
Well, I would say the head coach does kind of matter, though. I will say
it
that
does.
a little bit.
But it's like my ability to sort of embed those thoughts in our team that's going to really matter, right? And it's my ability to sort of use that experience to talk to them about, like, well, what's important to be thinking about this year versus what sort of stuff do you just need to get out of your brain, right? And I think that's how you frame the season for guys, and that's how we come up with our initial ideas. Like, this is what we're going to be thinking about this year. Here's how we're going to structure what we're going to try to improve on a daily basis and all those things, right? So I think there's we haven't won anything here since 1980. You know what I mean? It reminds me very much of like where I was with a 10-year span where we hadn't won with the Esks for, and it's like you got to get it done or you don't. And it's one of those things where you just keep trying and beating your head and trying to get it done. And it's like, imagine 1980 was the last time they won, I think, a Hardy Cup, a Western Conference championship here, right? That's a long time. And
it gives me goosebumps just thinking about when this team will do it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen.
So like it's
2024.
It's just one of those things, right? You're just like you and none of that matters. All the talk and we have this many guys back and that many, it doesn't matter. It matters who plays better each one of the games that we have in, right? And that's what's going to determine whether or not we're successful together or not. And it's just a matter of getting everybody to think that way. So yes, I agree. My experiences and all those things I think help, but it's just a matter of can I communicate that and sort of help the guys understand that. And I think that's where my challenge lies.
96, did he fumble?
No, he didn't fumble. Like that. Well, he did. Did you talk Flutie?
Yeah,
he fumbled the ball. Like we should have won that cup in '96. We should have won that one.
Set it up a bit for the listeners.
Well, Doug Flutie was a third down, goes, rushes, fumbles. You guys would have the football. I don't know.
He didn't even get the first down. That was the other part. He was short of the first down, and they still gave him the first down.
Yeah, so they retained possession and got a first down out of it.
Double whammy.
Robbery.
Yeah,
robbery out there.
That was that was a tough one. Like that was out of all the losses we had because that team. They'd spent so much money on that team in Toronto. Yeah. They had spent it was like we called them the best team money could buy. And we'd
That
always
was
played them
Rocket
close.
Ismail was on that team, $1 million.
Yeah, all those like
Yeah.
it was just they paid.
I think Rocket would have been earlier.
Rocket would
because he
have
was
been
the John Candy in the early
Yeah.
90s, I think.
It was all those.
They
They
said
bought all
Mookie
the guys.
Mitchell and
Mookie Mitchell, right?
All the guys who played USFL or not USFL in the American teams of the CFL era,
Yeah.
they bought all those guys, and they all went and played for Toronto, and they
I
were all
see.
there for that year, and it was like, and we had them like we just thought we could beat them, and I thought we did in that game. We just didn't. Like, again, it was just tragic in the end. We just didn't quite make the play to make it happen, right? So, you know, it is what it is. It was
the refs didn't make the right play to make it happen.
Don't even get me started on refs.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
very outspoken about refs too. I hate them all.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
There's no
I'm
asterisk
sure you
beside
do,
any
too.
win or loss. There's no asterisk saying the refs did anything wrong. It's you just got.
I'll put the asterisk on the Argos myself.
Yeah.
I'll keep going on that one. I was 5 years old or whatever. I was at my aunt and uncle's house, and I remember that. So no,
it's tough because it's funny. Like the refs in Canada, like they aren't paid. They aren't in service. They aren't like it's not like down in the States where it's like a profession, right? Like our guys are just. It's like me or you going out there and we do training, but it's like we're doing our very best to try to make this as best possible for everybody, and myself included. We all crap on them. It's like
It's a
we
tough
expect
job.
perfection, and I've made 10,000 bad calls for you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, but it's just you get emotional about it, right? And it's just hard
100%.
because it's tough.
Well, you're usually in the heat of the battle, and you're emotional, and we're almost done here, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts for coming in. We gotta do this more, and we'll certainly have you on the Reed Wilkins show in the afternoons. You can chime in on everything coaching for you. But I've heard this name come across, and I just wanted to ask you in person. I've heard of this fellow named C. Murder. And I think that was a name from back in the day, or maybe it was a different Chris Morris at the time. But who is C. Murder?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
It must be folklore then.
Alfred Payton gave me that name. I don't know.
Oh, is
why.
that where it came from?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
why.
really like.
Yeah.
Oh, if Alfred Payton is giving you that nickname,
That means
that's
something.
meaning something.
That is clutch. That is. I mean, that's probably the
different
greatest nickname of all. Of course. That's probably the greatest nickname of all time.
I think JMO was just talking to Alfred Payton a couple of weeks ago or
Was
something.
he?
He was saying
Yeah.
they just randomly had a talk
You know
with
what's
him.
funny?
And it's like Alfred Payton and them like hadn't missed a beat.
Yeah, I was walking my dog about a year ago down at Terwilliger Dog Park, and my phone rang, and I didn't. Normally, I don't answer the phone when I don't recognize the number. C. Murder, how you doing? Is this Peyton? Yeah, how you doing? I've been doing this. I was like, holy cow, how did you even get my number, man? So anyway,
Oh my
it's funny how
gosh.
small world it is.
Golden Bears football, a camp tomorrow, non-conference game out in Saskatoon, August 22nd, to start the season on the road August 30th against UBC. But then home, September 6th, Battle of Alberta as the Dinos come to town to take on the Bears. Chris, as Jay said, thank you very much for coming in. Really appreciate it. And best of luck with this season.
No, thanks for having me.
Really hope we're all on board with the Golden Bears football team. So go out
And
there and get it done. And we're all on board. Thank you very much for that. Thanks to everyone for tuning in to the Hangout. Up next, it is the Lock Shop. Myself and Huss will get you set for Week 10 in the CFL, and then it's two guys and a goalie later today at noon. Again, thanks, Chris. On behalf of Chris, Jay, I'm Matt. Again, thanks for tuning in to the Hangout. Lock Shop coming up in just a few minutes here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First time guest, long time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here, joining us today.